Burlington, Philadelphia. A Beasley Media Group station live from the Comcast Business Studios. 97.5, The Fanatic. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas. This is Kincade and Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Well, yesterday I told you I was going to be holding Jalen Hurts to a higher standard this season. Now we want to talk about all the stars in Philadelphia, what we want, what we demand, what we expect. What should we get out of our stars, especially when we know it hasn't been many championships. Another good win for the Phillies and a whole lot more. We'll talk about it. Bronny for Bron. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
If Howie Roseman covets a guy, you go get your guy. I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
There's some in the fan base that are very much of the belief that clock is ticking. I couldn't look at it more opposite. I think this team has a window.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man John Kincade. Johnny, good morning.
Hello, let's keep it to a good standard this morning.
That would be nice. How is the standard, or is the main thing the main thing? Which one is it today?
If we keep the main thing, the standard will be the standard.
Jalen Hurts is an absolute peach. So yesterday was a fun day, a high-spirited day, because you're calling me out on some BS when I talk about holding Jalen Hurts to a certain standard and not holding Joel Embiid to a certain standard.
I know that you are a man of integrity, though. And
yes.
From now on, when I ask you to maintain the same energy and the same standard, I know you'll do it.
I'll be able to spin it any way I want. So yesterday we talked about Jalen Hurts, and I was telling you guys that I'm going to hold him to a higher standard this season because I do expect more out of him, right? Like last year was a disappointing season for the entire team, but it was a disappointing year for Jalen Hurts. He got the big contract. We're excited for him to do a follow-up season from his damn near perfect a runner-up MVP season from the previous year. And from start to finish, except for a handful of games, you never really felt all that comfortable watching Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts didn't feel all that comfortable on the field, right?
It fell flat.
Yeah.
It felt like a flat season.
And it was just, even though they were 10-1 at one point, you never really felt all that great about him and the offense. And then you saw it spiral out of control, and he never uplifted the team, to which he did a lot 2 years ago. I remember they were trap game proof. Every time it looked like they were going to lose a trap game, he would put the team on his back, run in touchdowns in the fourth quarter, bring the team back. We didn't get that out of Jalen Hurts last year, and I'm okay with it because I expect him to get back to that this season. But if he doesn't, look, I'm holding him to a higher standard this year. But that kind of led into a conversation that we had after the show about the stars in the city and what we expect out of them, what we demand out of them. And the first thing that you even brought up was how vocal some of these stars are. And I would like you to explain this because it's a conversation that I know that you and I are going to disagree with, but I understand where you're coming from because stars in cities, especially like Philadelphia, a big one, they are always on the map, and we should expect more winning out of them, and you expect something else out of them.
Well, I am a believer, and again, this may be unfair. So I know going in it may be unfair, but I've never moved off of it, is that your best player, you were talking about a standard yesterday, and you brought up, well, what you're paying Jalen Hurts, he should go out there and he should be able to perform and he should be able to do this. I think there is also a responsibility.
Okay.
Players and having been embedded with teams, covering teams on television for an entire season, being in clubhouses and locker rooms entire seasons every day, I know there are players that they hate having to answer for other players. This is the only city I've ever seen, only one that I can think of, where the highest paid guy, the most important pivotal player on your team, is not your team spokesperson, is not the guy that everybody goes to their locker first to get the status of the team. What's the pulse? What's going on? Why are you struggling? Why are things going great? And I look at, and I'm going to, just for this conversation, Joel Embiid, Bryce Harper, and then we'll go to the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. None of those three gentlemen, who are all, I think, if we can agree with the premise off the top, they are the three most pivotal athletes for each of their franchises.
That's correct.
None of them are the team spokesperson.
I'm going to disagree with you about Embiid, and the reason why is because he doesn't talk when he's hurt, which was 43 games last year. And I'm
Yes.
not making jokes about
No,
it.
I got you.
He doesn't talk when he's out. He doesn't
I
talk.
understand some of that,
Right.
to a point. But he also,
Fletcher Cox missed a game last year, and he was still speaking.
And he was
in the
still
locker room.
speaking.
But Joel Embiid missing 43 games. There's a reason why he's not talking at a podium. But I think you agree he was much more mature this year when he did speak.
he was absolutely less. I think at times, Embiid has been a little less than inspiring as the team spokesperson, because one of the things he does when he speaks, it's I, me,
Mm-hmm.
what's affecting him. He doesn't speak as the team spokesperson.
But I think he stopped doing that a little bit this year.
He did. No,
the way
no,
he
it's
talked
gotten
about
better.
Maxey,
No,
he was
no.
talking about Tyrese Maxey as if it was his own son.
He has become a share the wealth guy, and it's getting there.
Yeah.
But he doesn't come off as the team leader that then takes the bullet. One of the things I expect is, for leadership, is that you're the guy to speak for your team. Why Rhys Hoskins was the team spokesperson for the Phillies made me just scratch my head. Like, I didn't understand it. And in any other city, the quarterback is the guy.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts fails in this regard.
Well, Jalen Hurts speaks during his required time to
that's all
talk
he-
two times a week, post-game, and his midweek press
and he
conference.
purposely tries to do as little as possible.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm okay with it, because what do I get out of listening to Jalen Hurts speak?
I've
I hear
heard
him
this
say the main thing is the main thing, the standard is the standard.
Well, that's how he chooses to speak to you. He doesn't choose to speak to you in anything of substance. He chooses to speak to you in Saban-esque, as I would call it back in
Right.
the day. He speaks Saban-esque. He is going to constantly give you as little as possible, and no matter what anyone will say, I think he looks at the media as an adversarial relationship. I don't
Probably.
believe Bryce Harper does. Like, I think Bryce Harper does a magical job of, if you're talking, when you talk vibesman with the Phillies, I think of Bryce Harper.
I don't at all. Not
See, now
remotely. I think of Garrett Stubbs.
He gets,
What are you
he
talking
gets the
about?
fans, because the guy who relates, who the fans can connect.
All right,
and
Mr.
can do that,
Anti-pandering.
They will do that.
You're giving him credit.
No.
He's Mr. Pander.
I'm giving it because I'm saying, I'm not speaking just for what I like.
Okay.
Because I'm saying what I like, he doesn't give me.
And that's
What
speaking
he likes,
in front of a
what
podium.
he does is he does market the organization incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly well. I think he has done above and beyond everything that John Middleton could have asked, as far as just making, hey, I'm a guy. I can be a face. But he's a face and he's not a voice. The voice matters more to me than it does to others.
See, now, and this is where I'll disagree with you. I don't necessarily care. Like, I get it. If times are tough, maybe sometimes you want to hear from him. And I think Bryce Harper does do that when times are really tough. I'm sure Joel Embiid has done it when times have been tough. It's just the times really haven't been tough until the playoffs, unfortunately. And then he speaks at the end of the season like he does every single year.
Well, 19, 20, and 21 were tough.
Yeah, the ends,
We're
ends of the
underachieving-
ends of the
underachieving
season.
for the
Right, no, but I'm
Phillies.
saying during
And
the
I
regular
didn't- and I
during the
didn't
regular
think he
who?
was-
The Phillies?
Yeah,
I'm talking about Joel
I'm talking about
Embiid.
for the Phillies,
Okay.
for like Bryce Harper. Yeah, things have been great the last 2 years, but there were other years where the team fell short, and I want come on.
I got you.
State
but
of the team.
I also wonder, and maybe this, I don't like bringing up the generational stuff. This could be a generational thing.
No, it
where
could be.
I really don't care what is said or what isn't said. I like it when people talk because we get to react to it, right? Like that's part of our gig. So I'm not naive when it comes to that, but I think there's also roles nowadays. Like Rhys Hoskins was the guy that was here from the beginning, and I think that's why he took that leadership role. Now, why has it been passed to Kyle Schwarber and not Bryce Harper? I don't know, but maybe Kyle Schwarber feels more comfortable doing it. Maybe Bryce Harper isn't comfortable talking to the media on a consistent basis. And if my man's hitting home runs and winning MVPs, I don't really care what's said or not said.
Jalen Hurts saying now as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. When it's purposeful avoidance, to me, I wonder why.
Well, Carson Wentz didn't purposefully avoid, and I hated
No.
all of his press conferences, too, with his stupid outfits. Everything about Carson Wentz sucked When it came to him talking, it just kept on saying, gosh, we're close. That's all I heard him say over and over again, which is what Brandon Graham was doing this year, and we ripped him for that.
And the thing, no, because Brandon Graham was telling us BS.
I know. So
he
was
giving us
Carson
BS.
The year they went 4-11-1, I heard every single week, oh, we're really close. The offense is really close. That does nothing for me because I know that you're not really close. I know that you're losing games, and I know that you look like a clown wearing what you're wearing. Like, there was nothing that Carson Wentz did for me when times were tough just because he's the leader of the team.
There was a time when leaders of teams and athletes, and this can be generational. And it's fair to say maybe it's generational because there was a time when athletes actually spoke their minds.
Right.
We had Larry Boa on yesterday. Larry Boa could have given a doctorate level class on telling the fans exactly what was on his mind, or if this team was playing like crap, Larry Boa was going to tell you they were playing like crap.
Right.
There was an honesty. Nowadays, it's like, well, players don't tell you anything. Well, they're doing that purposefully.
Right.
To me.
Or they're doing it anonymously because a lot of players don't speak out anymore.
And I blame some of that on our industry. Because before our industry existed, like Mike Schmidt would complain back in the day as a child.
Right.
Mike Schmidt would complain about the Philadelphia media. Mike Schmidt never played in an era where Philly had a sports radio station.
Right.
He never played when sports radio was a thing. Mike Schmidt, I wonder whether he would have reached his greatness because negativity of Philadelphia affected him. It affected him between the ears.
And that was just
he talks about it. If he had every day having to hear this stuff, I think it would be different. What I value is I want somebody up there taking the bullet and saying,
You have somebody. But it's just not Bryce Harper. It's now Kyle Schwarber.
And I don't understand why it's a 200 hitter that's up there doing it. And not, well, I do because you say that.
He's a he's won a World Series. He's been to multiple. I mean, he has had more when it comes to team success than Bryce Harper has. So he's the veteran of the clubhouse.
But you say that. But one of the first things you brought up yesterday with Jalen Hurts is how much money he makes. He signed the big contract. He signed the big contract.
Yeah, I'm talking about the field of play.
Yeah, but
I'm not talking about him talking to the media.
No, but your biggest guy, there's responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
And it's not just responsibility to perform. I think it's responsibility to be the leader.
And look, but the leadership doesn't have to be speaking to the media. Leadership could be what goes on behind closed doors, which is something I do believe Jalen Hurts lacked in last year and it's been reported multiple times.
And I don't think Bryce Harper is the guy who is leading like locker room speeches, anything like that. They talk about it, like other players being the guys that.
And he might not have to. He might lead by example, right? And we see it every single night, except for a couple of times where he hits ground balls to second base and doesn't run it out, and people lose their minds. But Bryce Harper, I would imagine, he leads by example.
What do you view as the two of you? What do you view as leadership that's important?
Right,
like when you say leadership. Like, what is important to you when you speak about leadership?
I don't want to steal a line from Nick Sirianni because it was factually incorrect when he said there isn't a book on leadership when there is. Like,
there's tons of books on leadership.
You could go to the Barnes & Noble section, and I'm pretty sure there is a leadership section. But I understood what he was saying. Like, there is not one definition. Maybe that's what he meant to say. There is not one definition. I mean, there have been times where leaders are the ones that are just yelling and screaming or getting in front of the entire team. A.J. Brown, people ripped A.J. Brown for not wanting to speak to the media, right?
Correct.
But A.J. Brown was the guy holding the players-only meetings. A.J. Brown was the guy that was trying to set up escape rooms, whether that worked or not. He was doing stuff behind closed doors. He just wasn't talking to people inside his locker.
But he also, though, remember, as we applaud A.J. Brown for doing stuff like that, we also have to point out that A.J. Brown was ducking the media because of the fact that he didn't want to talk about that him and Jalen Hurts blew the Seattle game.
No, he also said, I have nothing nice to say, so why should I say it?
He blew the Seattle game, and he let his coach take the bullet. He let his coach stand up there.
I would say the guy that threw the football was the one that made the final decision. I wouldn't say that A.J. Brown ran his route.
No, well, A.J. Brown and him decided to do it before the snap.
Yeah.
They decided to do that, to ignore the offensive coordinator and do it before the snap. So to me, that's when it's cowardly not to sit behind the mic. Jalen Hurts should have sat behind the mic and said, I did this. But he didn't. And then he got pissy about it because it took 10 days, I believe, until we saw A.J. Brown come out and finally admit what happened.
And Hurts still hasn't talked about it. No, it's amazing. Look, the leadership,
to me, I look at that
the
as
leadership conversation is a fascinating one because there are so many different ways to be a leader.
Correct.
It doesn't just have to be the guy that talks to the media. It doesn't just have to be the guy that is the rah-rah guy. I mean, the rah-rah guy in the Phillies is Garrett Stubbs. Do you think Garrett Stubbs is a leader?
No.
Well, exactly.
I don't think he could lead a bachelor party to a strip club.
I think he could do that.
I'm very confident he could do that.
I'm pretty sure he could do that just fine.
He's a mascot. He's a mascot.
But he is the vocal leader of that team, at least in the clubhouse. You see him. He's the one that's always talking. But do you consider him a leader? I don't think there is one specific definition of leadership, but I think you just know it when you see it. You just know it by who it is.
So that's how you fall on it.
Yes, but here's what I'll say, and this is interesting. Hasn't happened. What is this, our 42nd show?
Okay.
I'm a free agent on this one. I totally understand your points, John. I totally understand Andrew's points. I don't know what side of this I fall on
yet. So I have to pay you more money than John pays you to get on my team?
I can be bought. But my point is...
I know he can be bought.
There's a very strong point to the guy that's supposed to be the best player and make the money. Shouldn't that be the guy expected to also be the leader of the team?
Yes.
But I also understand, and I've played on teams, and I've seen players on professional teams that, like, there are guys that just step into that leadership role for other reasons, and it might not be evident to people outside of the locker room. So I get both sides as equally as I've gotten any argument we've had on this show. So I guess we'll see which one of you guys convinces me over the next 4 hours.
The thing is, though, is what you're saying is in many of our discussions where we'll have a disagreement of opinion about where things go. I fully also understand your point of view.
Yeah.
Because I have had athletes argue it with me. And I also know that sometimes a vocal leader isn't the most popular guy in the locker room.
Could be, because they may say too much. And then somebody's upset. Look, Darius Slay is very vocal. And he's a captain, by the way, and we should not take that lightly.
No question.
He was given a C on that jersey. Darius, if I'm one of his defensive teammates, and he goes on his podcast and talks about how good he was, but the rest of the team wasn't worth bleep, on his podcast, he said that word for word. The rest of my team wasn't bleep. That would piss me off.
And also, too, leadership is also not doing the I.
Right.
If you're going to also, when you say, when things are going poorly, that's where a guy like Darius Slay, as a captain, has to be, well, here's first what I need to be better at.
Right.
And then here's what the rest of the team.
And that's not what he did last year.
I think we now live in an era where, again, and I used the Hurts example last year. Jalen Hurts, to me, he ducked it. Him and A.J. went rogue, ignored the offensive coordinator, did their own thing, and then he didn't have the guts to sit behind a microphone afterwards and say, my bad, I shouldn't have done that.
But here's the amazing thing.
And I tell you this, no one will tell me differently.
I got you.
And I've heard things. No one will tell me differently that wasn't part
of what happened.
Of what went down last year with discord in the locker room when you have two players that decide to ignore what the game plan is to go do their own thing.
But it's amazing. They did it earlier in the year against Kansas City, and it worked. Deep shot down to Devontae Smith. It worked. So what did we do? We celebrated it. But because it didn't work.
It wasn't the game situation.
I got you, because it was the final play of the game.
It was close to the end of the game, but one completion puts them in field goal range.
Yeah.
You're going to overtime, or you're driving down, getting a touchdown, and winning the game in regulation. That's a little different, but I do understand what you're saying. Again, maybe you're emboldened because you did something before,
right?
And it worked. But I promise you, it wasn't popular with everybody in the locker room that they decided to go, not take the easy reception, where two guys were wide open.
Yeah.
Gainwell and Devontae Smith.
Oh, Smith.
Devontae Smith. And they were both wide open, and either one of them would have been.
So what we're going to talk about today is what we expect and demand, which is two different things. What we expect and demand out of the star players in Philadelphia, because this is a funny city. This is a city where the 12th guy off the bench is a superhero like Boban Marjanovic, but the superstar is held to a different standard, which they should, but more often than not, they suck. Right, like Joel Embiid stinks, blow it up, build around Paul Reed. I remember getting emails about that last year, which is lunacy. So what do you expect and demand out of our stars? And let's have this conversation about leadership. What is leadership for you when it comes to a sports team? To me, it doesn't just have to be the guy that speaks in front of the media, but I'm sure that you're not alone when it comes to answering the tough questions. We want to hear from you on the phone line or the text line, 610-632-0975. Great win for the Phillies last night.
That was
they
really
come
nice,
from
bud.
behind against Edwin Diaz. They win in extra innings. Bryson Stott with a big home run to make it 4-3, which kind of uplifted the team a little bit. A questionable non-call on a check swing.
What are you talking about?
We got a gift back. We got a gift back in New York because Whit Merrifield, he struck out. He struck out.
It looked like he got on base.
A gift back.
Yeah,
That's as if I gave somebody $50 and they gave me $5 back.
Well, New York.
That's not much of a gift
New
back.
York owed us one after the Knicks series, game 2.
Yeah, they didn't really repay me all that much.
Whit Merrifield struck out as decisively as you can strike out.
But hey,
I didn't see it.
It didn't say it in the scorebook. Phillies got the win. Nice win last night. It shows again that this team doesn't have quit. They have fight, and they find ways to win. It's fantastic.
It is awesome.
So nice win for the Phillies. We'll talk more about them today. But coming up next, your reaction to our topics on hand. What do you expect and demand out of our stars in this city? And the idea of leadership. What qualifies leadership for you?
Where do you think most people are going to fall? That'll be interesting today.
Yeah, we'll find that out.
Connor's torn. And I understand your point of view, and I think you understand mine.
No, I don't.
We just don't agree.
No, I don't.
You
I'm right. You're wrong.
You're dumb.
Coming up next also, more on LeBron James. I'm just going to tell you right now, you're a lunatic if you don't want him. All right, just a lunatic. And I'm going to read a couple of replies I got on social media yesterday of people that don't want him. You can't be more wrong. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A major comeback for the Phillies. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by PJ Wellahans Tuesday, half-price wing night. Be a PJ's Pub Club member and enjoy half-price wings every Tuesday and other great perks. Free to join and start earning points tonight. The Phillies had a major comeback win up in New York against the Mets last night. The final score 5-4 in the 10th. They scored 2 in the 9th, including a home run from Bryson Stott. Stott also had the game-winning RBI with a sac fly in the extra inning. And the Phils now, well, they have a chance to take both games up in New York as they play game 2 this afternoon. Yes, a Tuesday afternoon game, rare. Aaron Nola faces off against Jose Buto in the final game of the games up at Citi Field. Remember, after those two games down Citizens Bank Park Wednesday and Thursday, also against the Mets. The NFL schedule release is tomorrow night. We'll have a special YouTube broadcast, so go ahead and check out 97.5 The Fanatic's YouTube page. That'll be hosted by Bill Colarulo and Andrew DeCecco at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. Don't miss Jeff McClain of the Inquirer checks in 8:10 a.m. with the guys to talk about the latest for the Eagles. This update is also brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. I'm Connor Thomas, breaking sports news all day, every day, right here.
Whatever you're looking for, they've got it, and they make it a simple, easy system. You will love Window Nation. They're a fantastic company. If you call 866-90Nation, you can tell them, I want to take advantage of the 50% off all window styles deal. Pluses.
Kincade and Salciunas talking about what we expect and demand out of our stars here in Philadelphia. The jumping off point was leadership because John would like to see the top players on the teams, the highest paid players on the teams, be a little bit more vocal with the media and, maybe give more, not just the cookie cutter answers that Jalen Hurts gives from the school of Saban.
Part of being is just the aggravation that we still do not have an explanation for why last year went in the crapper.
Yeah, it took Kenneth Gainwell to finally open up.
Right. And to me, the fact that Kenneth Gainwell has to be the one that starts to crack the egg is pathetic to
Well, think about it. Kenneth Gainwell, Britton Covey, and Lane Johnson. So you got something out of Lane Johnson, but then you got something out of the kick and punt return specialist who might not be on the team this year.
And that would probably be a
Kenneth
byproduct
Gainwell.
of that.
Well, also because he played one position. And he couldn't do anything else, so he was basically a wasted roster spot, even though I know everybody loved little Britton Covey and his girlfriend who could pick him up.
Be nice to our short king.
Come on, man.
It was still good.
It's ridiculous. So we're talking about that. We'd love to hear you on the phone lines and the text line, 610-632-0975. Phillies reaction on the table. But real quick, before we get to the calls and the text. So yesterday, Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, in case you didn't know who that is, was medically cleared to enter the NBA draft. Remember, he had that health incident where he collapsed during a practice.
He had cardiac arrest.
He had to go to the hospital, and he rushed to the hospital. So he had to get, medically cleared to enter the NBA draft, and he was medically cleared yesterday. And I know he has, 14 more days? So the 28th is when he has to declare?
28th, he must declare, I'm in or I'm out.
Right. So right now we're having some fun with the idea of drafting Bronny James just to be able to get LeBron James. If that's actually the case, right? LeBron James, for all I know, could sign a one-year deal somewhere and then go to wherever Bronny James is playing. Because just because Bronny James gets drafted doesn't mean he's on the NBA roster. He could be on a G League roster to
Can
start.
he go to Ohio State?
There's a possibility.
Can LeBron go to Ohio State?
He has eligibility.
He does have eligibility. Yeah, you're
so
right.
he could go and play with Bronny there.
He lost his amateur status when he played professional. So
because honestly, even a school like Ohio State, Bronny doesn't belong at. He does not belong at he doesn't belong at a big-time Division I school.
I got you. Oh, no, he's probably Division I, dude.
He does not. No, a big-time Division I school. He does not belong.
He's still growing into his body, Johnny.
Hey, I'm proud of him battling back from that heart issue.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Shaq's son had it, Sharif.
Yeah.
Had it much more severe, but still, though, that's something very admirable.
Yeah,
for this.
Absolutely. So I found it fascinating. I put out the tweet, #Bronny for Bron again, in response to John Clark's tweet. And right away, you get the pushback on social media. So, there's multiple tweets. One from Philly Busey, excuse me.
Busey.
Says, you can't be serious drafting a kid who doesn't average 5 points a game in college is absolutely stupid. James isn't winning you jack. Okay, part one. It's literally to get LeBron James, right? And I have fun with the whole drafting Bronny for LeBron. But to say LeBron James isn't winning you jack is moronic because he's still playing at an extremely high level.
And you put Embiid and Maxey into the mix. That team becomes an Eastern Conference contender.
I would say
big time.
I would almost say
big time.
Lock for Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not saying to the NBA Finals, but that's further than where you've been over the last 23 years. Mr. Perfect on Twitter. I'm against it. Will he allow Nick Nurse to coach his son while being his teammate, or will his dad undermine Nick Nurse? I'll be honest. I don't care how Nick Nurse feels about it. You bring in LeBron James, Nick Nurse will probably be able to figure out a way to make this team work. Then I get a tweet from Andrew Bagley. Hell no. I want no part of LeBron James on this team. So
he knows LeBron undermines coaches, which is documented.
Right.
He undermines his coaches, which isn't good. I mean, everybody loves Nick Nurse here.
Yes.
Everybody's happy with Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse's job is a lot more difficult if LeBron's here because he undermines coaches. He has a history.
It's difficult in other areas.
Oh, okay.
It's not more difficult when it comes to
X's and O's.
X's and O's, man.
Correct.
So I finally snapped, and I responded to Andrew Bagley on Twitter, and I said, do you not like great players who fit well with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid? Because that's accurate, okay?
That is
How
accurate.
many times have you heard, oh, you need to have another big man on the floor with Joel Embiid, get a nice stretch four? LeBron James is that, okay? LeBron James can also play point four. Tyrese Maxey is not a point guard. He is a combo guard. He can run an offense every once in a while, but That's why you needed to bring in Kyle Lowry, because it can't just be on the shoulders of Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey still needs to work on his entry passes to Joel Embiid. LeBron James is an elite, capital letters, facilitator in the NBA. He has been when he was with Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland Part 2, and now with the Lakers. An elite facilitator. But as he's gotten older, he's become more of a point forward. So now that helps a little bit of Tyrese Maxey, because people start asking, well, that's going to take away from Tyrese Maxey. No, it's not. It might give Tyrese Maxey more open looks, and LeBron James can also let Tyrese Maxey run the offense at times.
But I think the people are also looking at the 21 Lakers, the 22 Lakers, 23 Lakers, 24 Lakers, 7th, 8th, 7th. They're nothing.
Okay.
They're nothing. They don't compete.
The 23 Lakers that you just
They
said
made a
are
run.
nothing. They went to the
They
Western Conference Finals and lost to the team that won the championship.
In 4 years, they've averaged being a 7 to 8 seed, and they had one run.
They have done more than the Sixers have. They won a title. They've gone to a Western Conference Finals, and LeBron James clearly is a guy that doesn't necessarily need seeding.
Title's 5 years ago.
Okay.
I mean,
That's still more than what the Sixers have done.
No, I understand.
And LeBron James at 35, just as good as LeBron James at 40. Look, dude, LeBron James at 40 is just as good as he was at 35. And LeBron James at 40 is better than guys at 25 in the NBA.
That could
guys
be.
At 30, he's
But
still
I don't think LeBron James is the player he was 5 years ago.
Okay, he's still a very highly
he's
talented
a fantastic player.
So, and then so Andrew Bagley responds, the man is old. It's just my own personal opinion. Dude, he's 40. Yes, that's older in sports terms. I totally understand that. But he still plays like he's 35. And, oh, by the way, you're signing him to a 2, maybe 3-year deal, which might be the window of the Sixers right now.
It would be the most Sixers thing ever to just say, we're going to draft a kid who doesn't belong in the NBA. We're going to do this because we're going to get LeBron here at the end of his career, and we're going to go, yeah, it's the most Sixers thing ever.
And you know what? If you get 3 great years out of LeBron, well, Bronny's coming up on the end of his contract anyway, and then you don't have to pay him. You're not drafting Bronny James for Bronny to play.
No.
You're drafting Bronny for LeBron James. That's it. If you do you wish LeBron James was on this team? Yes or no?
It is, but my motivations are purely I'm a selfish bastard. I want him because of our job. I don't think it's good. Do I think you're going to win anything with LeBron James?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Then who are you going to win something with?
Do I think that the Sixers are going to end up having – what do we want? I heard Ray Dunn talk about this yesterday in middays. We want a parade, right?
Correct.
Yes. We are not having a parade getting LeBron James.
It's crazy for you to say that.
Okay, I don't believe it's crazy to say that.
It is crazy for you to say that when he is still playing at an extremely high level.
Absolutely, they're not winning a title with LeBron.
There's no active player with more championships than LeBron James.
I don't believe as a team they're going to be deep enough, and L.A. has shown that over and over, that you can have LeBron and you can have another star top 20 player with him, and you can then
They won a title.
And he get in 2020.
Okay,
we've now seen. But Andrew, we've now seen this will be the 4th champion crowned since that happened. Since then, they are in 7 seed or an 8 seed. They're a play-in tournament
and they got
team.
to a Western Conference Finals.
One time they did have a run.
Last year.
Dude, this will be the 41st champion crown since the Sixers won anything.
Right. I get you. I do not agree with you. I don't believe it. I don't believe they're going to have the depth. I don't believe they also are going to have they're not. I don't think.
They have no depth now. They have nobody on the team. Joel Embiid is the only guy under contract.
They do not. That is correct. And it's going to be, I already know. Look,
they have to build the team from scratch.
I already know what Daryl Morey's going to do. Daryl Morey's going to say, I'm worried about the next 2 years, and then we'll be fine.
Okay, and hopefully the next 2 years they can win you something, and bringing in LeBron James gives you a better chance, and that's all I can freaking ask for.
You're moving the football. You just said that's a 5-yard penalty.
I just told you Eastern Conference Finals
lock. I didn't say a bet. I don't want. That's not the bar.
John,
the bar
John,
this year, that was exactly
the bar.
The bar is not. If you guys want to celebrate getting out of the second round, I think it's pathetic that we're still talking about it.
You listed that on this show as your goal for this past year.
Minimum. There's a difference.
Right, but John, to get there, you have to win a to win a championship. You have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's
number one. And then when you are a Final Four team, I feel like my chances are pretty good with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and freaking LeBron James.
Why I want LeBron is selfish. Why I want him is selfish. It's because I know it'll be more entertaining. No, I do not think you're winning a title with him. I do not. I just do not.
Okay, then the Sixers need to move to another town and they need to blow up the franchise because if that's not going to convince you they're good enough, dude, he may be the greatest basketball player of all time.
I think he is.
I think so too.
I think he is.
And you're telling me they're not going to win with him?
That conversation.
No, I don't. I'm not. You look. If you guys
Jordan or LeBron, 6-1 up.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Look, I think you're a lunatic if you don't want LeBron James on this team.
I didn't say no. I want him for entertainment value.
I know. Okay, from
They're
a
not winning-
basketball standpoint,
I'm going to tell you.
I'll say it that from a basketball standpoint, if you don't want him, I think you're a lunatic.
Okay, that's fine.
Respectfully.
I don't want to. The playing tournament doesn't do it for me. Let's hope it's better.
Oh, but it's.
Let's hope it's better.
All right, you can climb in on the show 610-632-0975 phone line and text line. I just got a tweet from Ferry Nick 520. Never thought we would be arguing whether or not we want LeBron James on the Sixers. It's amazing.
No, I want him here just for entertainment value. That's not the
absolutely
argument.
amazing.
The argument is that you're going to win with a 40-year-old free agent at the end of his career.
Dude, if you want
I don't believe you
entertainment
are.
value, just give Disney on Ice the Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah,
the whole night.
exactly.
No,
You'll get
I
that
don't
they're coming your way this December.
I'm not entertained by Disney.
I want a
on Ice.
superhuman freak that could still windmill dunk at 50.
All right, so
Okay.
LeBron James, yes or no, 610-632-0975. Just like yesterday, I couldn't believe I had to ask whether or not we should hold Jalen Hurts to a higher standard. I can't believe I have to ask whether or not you want LeBron James. But also, coming up next, I want your text reaction and your phone reaction at 610-632-0975 about what we expect and demand out of our stars and what you consider is leadership. What do you believe is leadership from a team? I know we have a lot of texts on this, and I know we have some callers about it as well. So we'll get your reaction coming your way next, 610-632-0975. We have a lot in store for you today. Jeff McClain will be joining us at 8:10 to talk about the Eagles and a lot of great Phillies sound from incredible Phillies guests that were on the station yesterday. We'll talk about it all on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This week in Philadelphia sports is a big one as Eagles fans await the release of the 20.
Open up the phone line and the text line in a second, but like, this is where I laugh. All right, so we got a tweet from Steven. Steven Kolscher checks in.
Okay.
Says, John is right. Sorry, Andrew, about acquiring LeBron James. He says, I want the money we finally have to go make a team, a real team. Give me debt players. Give me a guy who can actually hit a corner three. LeBron James shot 41% from three last season. He can hit a corner three. He can hit a three from the top of the key. He can hit it from the side. He can also do a million other things. He can also facilitate to that vet minimum guy that can hit a corner three. What are we talking about here? I want a guy that can hit a corner three. He shoots 41%.
He's talking about the surrounding cast. So what do you got? What are you going to, like, what does he facilitate? What did he facilitate in L.A. the last 4 champions now?
Okay.
Since that bubble championship, which was as fraudulent as it comes.
He won
for
a
the whole
championship.
league. It was terrible.
He won a
It was
championship.
joke.
He won a championship.
Last 4 years, they've been a 7 or an 8 seed.
Let's do it this way. Is Joel Embiid better than Anthony Davis?
Yes.
Yes.
Is
Whoa.
Yes.
When they
Yes.
both play.
Talent
Yes.
level
Yes.
wise.
Yes.
Is Tyrese Maxey better than D'Angelo Russell?
Yes. Not even close.
I think absolutely better.
Okay, there you have it.
Okay.
Period. Better
He's got a better supporting. Look, they talked up Austin Reeves out there as if it's Larry Bird. All right, like the Sixers. And, oh, by the way, Daryl Morey has the ability to operate with this open canvas that he has, this clean canvas.
Does he?
Yes.
You have a lot of you have
All
a
this
lot.
cap space he has, yes.
You have a ton more faith in Daryl Morey than I do, and I think you have a ton more faith in Daryl Morey than the majority of the fan base, than greater than half this fan base.
I'm not saying he's going to hit a home run, but what?
I just want him to hit a freaking double. I want him to hit a double.
But the statement that I said is that he has all the room to work with.
He has, well, guess what? That's all the potential in the world. I am not seeing it. I don't see Daryl's vision. I don't see it panning out. And I've seen him over and over again take shots that this is it. I don't think he's the guy that maybe you think he is. He hasn't shown it to me.
I told you I think he's overrated.
No, well,
I think he's overrated.
That's what I'm saying is he has all the resources in the world, supposedly.
And this will be the year we find out.
And we're going to find out.
Absolutely.
And I have not seen enough to believe.
All right, let's go to Ike in Southwest Philly talking about leadership as well. What's up, Ike?
What's up, y'all? But first of all, with the LeBron thing, you also got to factor in the West been way better than the East as well when you talk about the Lakers. So you got to look at all of it. And I'm not even getting into the LeBron thing, but I'm on your side, Andrew, if it could go that way. But when you talk about the leadership, I think that this is a fake argument because people want to hear their leaders or players or coaches speak as long as they saying what you want to hear them say.
That's Ike, you can't wrong. That's completely wrong.
All right, so let me make my point then.
No, I mean, I'm just telling you what you're saying is you're telling me. No, Ike, you're telling me. Ike, you're telling me what I think, and your premise is wrong.
I didn't say you. I said I think. I'm saying people. I didn't say you.
I'm not people.
I think. Let me make my point.
He's talking about
You're not all
a set of people. You're not all people, John. You're one of one.
Let me make my point. I'll give you an example. Doc Rivers, when they played against the Hawks,
scheduled loss.
They asked him, "Hey, what you think about Ben Simmons? Can he be a point guard?" He said, "I don't know." And then the next day, we heard a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people on the radio and on the shows talk about he threw Ben Simmons under the bus. This is why people don't want to say their true feelings.
I applauded, well, just for the record,
you did.
I applauded him for doing that, and many did. You're speaking in absolutes. But you're speaking
you're talking like everybody is you.
No, Ike, you said everybody wants it. I said you're speaking in absolutes. I saw many people that applauded him.
People don't. A lot of people
absolutely.
don't want to
Some people don't.
No, a lot of people don't want to. These athletes don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of saying what they truly feel. Because as soon as they do, you got people on both sides of it.
And Ike, you are right about that. And thanks for the call, man. I thought he was going to go to the scheduled loss thing.
That was another one.
But that was an honest.
And I had no problem with it.
And but people freaked out because they go, "What do you mean scheduled loss? You guys get paid to play basketball. You should go out there and play hard every single night." The Phillies lost Game 3 of their series to the Marlins, right? Whit Merrifield was your leadoff hitter.
Well, they had guys injured. That's a little different.
Scheduled loss.
No, but it's a little different than you played 3 games in 4 days, and you feel like you're losing because the schedule killed you. The Sunday was a loss because they didn't have people.
But
But the thing is, you
over
can't
82 games,
he's spoken because people don't like it. No, some people. I agree
that's
with
what he doesn't have to add some, John. People don't like it assumes that there are people
and is
out
it
there
worth
that don't
dealing,
like
is
it.
it worth dealing with the repercussions?
Connor, every single topic we discuss, that's the case.
And that's the point that he was making, John.
Every single topic we discuss, somebody's going to feel one way. But the thing is, I believe it's minuscule compared to the people who feel the other way.
Okay, yes,
minuscule.
but he wasn't coming after you. He was just saying there are people out there who disagree with the way that you're viewing it.
But everybody is going to any topic we discuss. There's always going to be somebody you can point to. Well, I have this guy on Twitter that says.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's going to be on any topic. But the vast majority of people were not. By the way, the vast majority of people were not killing Doc Rivers for that.
Right, but I think what Ike
were cheering
what
Doc
Ike
Rivers.
is trying to get at, Ike is saying, look, because there might be only 10 or 20 people, but it might be loud. Why even bother with the repercussions? That's why, I understood why A.J. Brown didn't talk after the 49ers game. He straight up said, I'm only going to say things that will make the situation worse because I'm not happy right now. Now, it got to a point where it was ridiculous that it was an extended period of time of him not talking. Then other players had to answer for him,
the Seattle
which I thought that was unfair for his teammates. Like Devontae Smith shouldn't have to talk for A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts shouldn't have to talk for A.J. Brown. But I understood why he didn't speak after a game in which he was pissed off.
There is nothing in my entire career when I've had to do that job, report on a team every day. There's nothing worse than when one player has to answer for another.
Sure.
So AJ should have stepped up to a mic and should have sucked it up and done it.
I agree
because
with you.
nobody else should ever have to speak for him.
But Sunday night, after they lose to the 49ers, Sunday night he may not needed to have talked. He should have talked Monday. He should have talked to it. Ended up going way too long.
Correct.
But at the time, I didn't blame him for it. Like,
when other players have to answer for you, that sucks.
Nobody did that night. It then became a story that he wasn't talking, and that's when it became a problem. All right, we'll continue the conversation, reset the entire show to start the 7 o'clock hour. Good morning if you're just joining us. I think you're crazy if you don't want LeBron James. I know we have a lot of texts coming in about leadership and LeBron, and also the Phillies just remain red hot. Nice win yesterday. How good is this team? Jason Stark joined the best show ever yesterday and basically told us that they're going to win something. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Philadelphia. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up this segment, Jason Stark joined the best show ever yesterday and talked about teams like the Phillies who have come out of the hot start that they've had so far this year, what it usually means for the rest of the season. You're going to like what you hear.
Oh, I love hearing
I
that.
guarantee it. Wasn't that
Right.
was that a jewelry company?
And
You're going to like the way you look, I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's
It's Men's Warehouse, baby.
Very good, Connor.
Come on.
That's good work. So we'll play that coming for you later on this segment, followed by something that Matt Gelb said on with Bob Cooney that also talks about how good this Phillies team is as we are 1/4 of the way of the Major League Baseball season after another nice win last night against the New York Mets. A little come-from-behind action for the Fightins. It was a good win.
Fortuitous.
Yeah, great win, man. But I want to hear from you more at 610-632-0975, phone line and text line, about our two main topics today. The first one was about leadership. Well, first, it's what you expect and demand out of your stars. And then it goes into the leadership conversation. And that's where you and I had a differing opinion. You believe leaders are also the ones that should answer the hard questions, that
Yes.
should be in front of the media.
Take
To
the bullet
me,
first.
I don't care. As long as you're leading by example on the field of play, the court, the ice, that's all that matters to me, right? Honestly, that's all that matters. A soundbite doesn't matter to me. It's whether or not they're going out there almost every single night, as much as they can, health-related, and play to the best of their ability. And I've seen Bryce Harper back that up. I've seen Jalen Hurts back that up. Unfortunately, the collapse last year sucked, and then that opens up the conversation of other leadership conversations because maybe behind closed doors he might not be the best leader, which is also something that's more important to me than talking to the media. But I've seen him back up. That 2-point conversion in the Super Bowl where he puts the entire team on his back, carries two or three Chiefs defenders into the end zone, like that's leadership to me. That's going out there and just freaking balling out. And I don't care about what he has to say. Right, exactly. And that's leadership to me. I value that more than what they say to a camera.
Well, I also say is that your team fell apart last year, and we still can't get a straight answer out of anybody.
Right.
And we do know that stars of the team, whether it's A.J. Brown or whether it's if it was Jalen Hurts, ducked the opportunity to step there, take responsibility, tell the truth, which to me is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
That's embarrassing. That to me is there was no reason why they should have let their head coach twist in the wind and be like, people were like, what the hell? They literally threw up a wall looking for a pass interference. Nick Sirianni must have been like stepping up to the mic going, you mean I gotta be the one that looks like an a-hole here? I didn't do this, and I gotta be the one? It's one of the few times where I'm saying I actually felt bad for Nick Sirianni.
Now, I wonder, my first guess is Sirianni probably told them, I'll take the bullet, which is good leadership for him, right? But then when it continued to drag on where he's getting ripped for a week, and then A.J. Brown tells the truth and Hurts still has not said anything about it, that's problematic. And so I'll agree with you there. How about that?
It's one of the reasons why when Jalen Hurts was asked not once but twice, and Jeff McClain got him the second time, to give a vote of confidence to his head coach, it disappointed the hell out of me that you can't find anything nice to say about Nick Sirianni. To when the guy needed a lifeline, Jalen Hurts decided, nope, I got a big life preserver right here, and you're flailing in the water. I'm not throwing it to you.
Maybe because he didn't want to throw it to him.
I was just going to say.
He may not have wanted to throw it to him.
When that man kept him from looking like a moron, kept him from looking like a selfish teammate, he didn't want to give him the same grace. I got to tell you, it's the first time where I just went, man, it made me cringe a bit about Jalen Hurts.
So what kind of text do we have on this? You said, a lot of texts came in hot and heavy very early on. You could text into the show, 610-632-0975. What do people consider leadership when it comes to sports, Connor?
Yeah, we got new texters. We got long-time texters.
Nice.
We got
Love
names. We got no names. Rob from Lambertville checks
Hello,
in.
Rob.
Similar to what our caller Ike was saying, they don't speak because of the way it may be twisted and taken. The old phrase, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. And he says, we just live in a different era now.
Okay, if Jalen Hurts sat behind a microphone after the Seattle game and came out and said, my bad, we didn't listen to the offensive coordinator, AJ and I decided to go rogue, try our own thing. It had worked before. That's what we did. It didn't work, and we had an easy way that we could have gone to overtime. My bad. There's no way that's twisted. There's no way that's How would that be twisted?
Jalen Hurts doesn't trust his offensive coordinator.
No, that wouldn't be a
610-632-0975.
That wouldn't be a twist. That would be reality.
Okay.
That's what he did.
And he doesn't want that out there.
But that wouldn't be twisted. No.
Especially because he's buddies with the offensive coordinator.
But that would not be twisted. That would be reality. He didn't like the call. They decided to do their own thing. So that wouldn't be twisted. That would be everybody saying exactly, Jalen not saying it in so many words. That's what he would be saying.
All right, well, then it would have led to more conversation that maybe they wouldn't want to have had.
Yeah, Jalen doesn't want to have it.
Yeah.
He wants to
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to let his
he'd rather stay quiet.
He wants to let his head coach take all the crap for it.
His responsibility is not to us. Like, the fan base would like to hear it. We would like to hear it. But his responsibility is to the Eagles.
Does he have a responsibility to his head coach? I think he does.
Yes. And that we're not going to disagree on. I'm with you on that one. But
I think he should have had his coach's back.
To me, that's a lack of leadership.
Absolutely.
In that moment. And by the way, I'm a believer that Hurts is the leader. Like you use the example of like a Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is sort of a prototype of how every player should go about their business.
Yeah. Look, Jalen Hurts, first guy in the building, last guy out of the building.
And I think Jalen Hurts' abilities as a leader that way are A+.
Yes.
Well,
and that's part of the reason why he was a second-round pick.
Maybe they thought they could get away with it. Think about it. If they start winning again after that game and Sirianni defends him for a week, we don't talk about it again.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
It's just the fact that it kept on spiraling out of control. But to John's point, he has heard that may have led to more spiraling.
That there was people maybe that weren't pleased.
Not debating whether or not it was the wrong move, but I think they thought they could get away with it, and it became a bigger story. And now it looks worse in hindsight, which is why you always take care of problems early. It's a life lesson, though.
Yep. All right, what else do we have on the text line?
We have someone who checks in, first-time texter, no name, but says leadership is also defined by personality. Hurts may be a great quarterback, but his monotone voice does not instill confidence.
Well, it depends on what you categorize as leadership. Again,
Exactly.
I don't care about what is said or was not said, unless it's dire circumstances like this one, right, where A.J. Brown has since come out and said that we went rogue, that wasn't Nick Sirianni or Brian Johnson's call. Then Hurts should probably say something, and he hasn't, which is probably a bad thing. But just because he's monotone during his press conferences doesn't make me think he's a good or bad leader.
Because there are leaders who aren't given the speech from all the Disney movies.
Right,
It's
exactly.
not Remember the Titans.
Yeah, Belichick was a great leader.
He is monotone as hell, but a great leader. In that, and there's other ways to lead, which is what Andrew's pointing out.
Right.
I think Harper and Jalen share some common DNA.
I do too.
Like as far as just like you watch Bryce Harper, you watch how to be a better pro.
I think he's a great leader, even though he doesn't talk. And look, I get what you're saying. In a lot of other sports towns, it's the highest paid player, it's the best player that talks.
In almost everyone.
But I don't need it.
Okay.
I don't need it. I watch Bryce Harper go out there as much as he can, right, when his back's not hurting or when he's getting Tommy John or whatever. But when he's out there and he's playing and I'm seeing him hit one of the most iconic home runs of my lifetime with that home run against the Padres, and I go, that's why you freaking brought him in. Like, that's why he's the highest paid player. That's why you believe every single year there's a window with this team.
They brought up on the ESPN blog, SGA and Anthony Edwards both did advanced media training personally on their own thing with the team involved to be ready for the stage of playoffs. Here's how you the microphone's going to be in your face. Strangely enough, last night SGA had it like he was speaking for the team, and he did a masterful job of it. I take it that it was something he wasn't necessarily wanting to be that guy right away, but it's time. It's time. You're the best guy. It's the time.
You're absolutely right. And at the same time, the guy in Denver who won the championship last year wants to talk about horse racing.
He doesn't want to talk at all.
He doesn't want. He doesn't.
He was literally told what day the parade was after they won the championship last year, and he said, "Oh, I have to wait till Thursday to go back home."
And he didn't take the famous story, the first MVP award. He went to the press conference, went to everything like that, and then Denver staff had to recover the trophy for him because he didn't take it.
Right.
He didn't take it home.
Yeah, so I think leadership, it depends. Like, I will believe that.
What do you prefer, though? If you
I think that's the real question.
Talent.
Okay, now that's the question.
Talent and leading by example. I don't care about talking. I would rather have Nikola Jokic going with triple doubles, 30, 20, and 15 than him talking. Right? Like,
Are you on the fence with this, or are you not?
I'm going to make a decision in headlines. When we do our replay.
805. All right, let's get to one more text, then we'll get to the calls, then we got to talk about the Phillies. I know we have a text about LeBron James as well.
Yes. And this comes in another Austin and Quakertown, actually. There's a name
What's
on
up,
this one.
Austin?
Hello, Austin.
It'd be the most Sixers thing ever, overdrafting Bronny to try influencing LeBron, only for him to not come here anyway.
Right.
Ding,
But
ding, ding, ding,
well,
ding.
you're talking to LeBron before you draft
Not
Bronny.
only that, though, let's say that happens. Guess who GM LeBron is going to want to trade for? Hold Bronny
but they're not
hostage.
giving anything up.
I'll give you something.
Yeah, but you're not going to get the value you draft him at.
That would be like the most one-sided
Sixers thing
trade
ever.
conversation ever,
Yeah.
though.
It's
Could
so
you imagine?
thirsty.
We
It's-
have your child, LeBron. Give us everything.
So
we
What is it,
want.
Liam Neeson?
Yes.
Yeah, taken.
I
Yeah.
have a very specific set of
By
skills.
the way, I saw the first one of that and really sort of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the second one. It was horrendous.
Second one was great. Third one was
No,
okay.
I thought the second was
Stop
horrendous.
letting your family get taken.
It's like, my
the
gosh,
third one was a bit much.
you're sloppy, dude.
Real quick, one more note on this Bronny James conversation that I have not even thought about, but that's why Adrian Wojnarowski is a brighter man than me, and he also talks to GM, so he
Sure,
probably has
absolutely.
an idea. Teams are not only intrigued by drafting Bronny James for LeBron, but also the financial impact that their G League team will get. Because
No,
people will want to go see Bronny.
Wait a minute. You think LeBron's coming here to have him down at the Blue Coats? No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
LeBron's not going to be a Blue Coat.
No.
I would
No,
love to see that.
I'm saying,
Dude,
Bronny,
he'd average 50.
Bronny is not playing with the Blue Coats. This is, and by the way, I've talked to people about this before. I've said it in a couple interviews. Go and ask, show me the quotes where Bronny James wants any of this to happen. He doesn't. This is a dad-created scenario, and I think it's embarrassing as hell.
I think this is also an Andrew Salciunas created scenario.
No, you're dealing with the story that's there. You're intrigued by the story
Hashtag Bronny for Bron, baby.
that Dad created. And then Dad was getting, when people started to critique Bronny for being a really mediocre to bad basketball player, then LeBron came out with the, hey, the kid, what is this? Don't attack my child. You're the one who created this, LeBron. Nobody else. Bronny has not done this.
Right.
Bronny is not behind this Mickey
know what, John?
Mouse orchestration.
But
If LeBron James says, I'm not signing with Philadelphia because I heard this guy, John Kincade, I'm not doing the show anymore.
you're gonna just,
All right.
I'm done.
Easy.
you're gonna just walk? I mean,
If
come
he
on now.
says John Kincade is the reason why I didn't sign with the Sixers, I'm out.
I don't think Bron cares. I don't think LeBron's given one
Wow,
damn.
LeBron is going to kill this show.
Let's go to Mike in the Lehigh Valley. Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hi, guys. How are you?
What's
Good,
up,
Mike.
man?
I just wanted to talk about the whole leadership thing.
Yeah, please.
The best example for leadership that I can think of was Utley. Even when he was hurt, he would still be there at all the games in the dugout cheering on his teammates. Now it would be Harper currently, but Harper wasn't always a leader, especially his early days.
Yeah, I think he's grown into
He
it.
was hated by a lot of his teammates in Washington.
Yeah, I was about to say he definitely grew into that.
And I think that's anybody. I mean, he was, 18 years old when he was playing Major League Baseball?
they're I understand, but as far as grown into, he wasn't a good teammate in Washington.
No, not
The
early.
veterans thought he was a bit of a.
He was 18. If I got
What
paid
does that
millions
mean?
of dollars and I was told I'm the second coming of Jesus to play baseball, then yeah, I might be a little of a hothead too. What are you
No, I'm just saying
shrugging?
is no. I mean, it depends. I don't think you necessarily alienate the veterans. NBA players, 18, 19, 20, and everything, have come to the NBA and been star players, and
He was a star player.
but they don't alienate the veterans in the room.
Go
They sort
ahead,
of-
go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was going to say another one who kind of always never really seemed like as much of a leader as he's given as the media thinks he is. To me, was always Braun, especially after one of his interviews with the Cavs when I think it was against the Pacers in the playoffs. They asked him about being down 3-0 or 3-1 against the Pacers, and he's like, I was down 3-1, not we as a team were down 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron. I don't think anybody questions LeBron James's leadership. And thanks for the call, Mike. His leadership's impeccable.
I think LeBron James takes people by the lapels and drags them
Well, and
into
that's
it. He's not Michael Jordan jerk level, but he can be a jerk.
But, John, this
And
is
it does a
also
good job.
why I want him here, not just because of his basketball fit, but there is a leadership quality that the Sixers have not really had. There's an intensity. I mean, look, we've talked about how the Sixers needed to sign P.J. Tucker to try to kick guys into shape, right? You're bringing in LeBron James. There's a whole new world inside the Wells Fargo Center or inside the Sixers practice facility when a guy like LeBron James is on.
Can I ask you, how do you think, and both of you, how do you think guys who tend to be sort of up in their feelings and mopey react to being called out, being challenged, somebody in their face? Do they tend to go, oh, now I'm a new person? Or do they tend to
Joel Embiid still talk about Jimmy Butler as if they're like brothers?
They do.
Jimmy Butler was that guy. And Joel Embiid was more immature and mopey back then. And he loves Jimmy Butler.
He does.
So I think
he loves
might
the
like
buddy
it.
of Jimmy Butler. I mean, he admires him as a player. We all do. I don't know that.
I think Jimmy Butler was tough on him.
I think it is just as likely that there could be an effect on Joel Embiid. That could be, man, this guy is constantly calling me out.
We'll see during the Summer Olympics, man.
I don't think from LeBron, though. Like, because he's LeBron. I think there are some. Here's the thing. If I'm playing piano and Mozart tells me I got to be better, I'm going to listen a lot more than some lady at the church. Like, LeBron is the standard. So I think people are a lot, even if you're mopey, he just carries that weight with everything he says.
I think sometimes, and it has been described before, that LeBron has sometimes also created pressure for players where they haven't responded well to it.
Right, but here's the thing.
He makes people like walk on eggshells and be nervous.
I'll ask you this: is there not pressure on the Sixers? And
there's pressure every single day on the Sixers,
and they crack under it.
They hear the 23 years thing,
Yep.
22, 21, 20, 19 years since the Eastern Conference Finals. They hear it all the time. All right, Jason Stark yesterday was on with the best show ever. This is before another great win for the Phils, who come from behind and beat the Mets yesterday. And it was interesting. They were talking about how successful the Phillies have been so far this season. Jason Stark talks about what that could mean moving forward.
When a team starts out the way this team has started out, it almost always leads somewhere special. Like, it's a reminder that it's almost always health that undoes these types of seasons. But if you look through the wild card era, the teams that start 28 and 12 or better, they almost all go to the postseason, and many of them go to the World Series. So this team certainly has the makings of that if they stay healthy.
I don't think saying they almost all go to the postseason is crazy, because I think we all expect that.
I would think they would.
But the World Series part, like, that should fire you up.
Well, today's the day that does the math for us again.
Okay.
Phillies play 500 ball today. The rest of the way, they have 89 wins.
And
they finished with 90 last year.
And that would be a major disappointment.
I mean, honestly, it would be a major disappointment, but we're saying 500 ball.
That's how good they've played, yeah.
That is amazing what this start does for you.
Now, can the start continue? Here's Matt Gelb yesterday with Bob Cooney on the Midday Show.
The rotation has been incredible. Like, I don't think they're going to sustain all of the things that they've done, but the idea is this can be one of the 3 or 5 best rotations in baseball is not totally outlandish. I mean, yes, they have faced some inferior opponents. They have beaten them at almost a 700 clip this season, which is pretty darn good. It's why they have the best record in baseball. And, are you going to have a 1.7 ERA from Ranger Suarez the whole year? Probably not. But could you see Ranger Suarez having an ERA under 3? Yeah. I mean, I think you could. You could see that for Zach Wheeler, too. So I don't see anything being totally unsustainable right now.
The way we talk about the Phillies come playoff time, right? Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, you always have a great shot of winning a playoff series. I could say the same thing about a regular season series.
Oh, no question.
Right? So these tough games that are coming up against the Braves and the Dodgers, you still expect them to win baseball games because of who they have on the bump to start the game. And then this lineup, when healthy, is deep. And I love that 2 guys, a Hall of Famer and a tremendous reporter, Matt Gelb, think that this can be sustainable and that it could lead to something deep like a World Series appearance.
Well, one thing I like about it, too, is that baseball-wise, I think baseball the most you can follow the history. I think the baseball's the least erratic.
I got you.
So to me, I think that Jason, a historian of the game, going, look, when someone starts out like this, unless health derails them, it's a pretty special year.
Absolutely. All right. I'm asking specifically the anti-LeBron crowd. 610-632-0975. Call in or text in, okay? You specifically, the anti-LeBron James crowd. I want you to give me a better solution. Okay? Next segment, we're going to dive into it. Give me a better solution. And I'm going to tell you, John, and you, Connor, right now, I don't expect many responses. Because I don't think they'll come up with them. Challenge is yours. Let me see if you can do it. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up at 8:10, we'll be joined by Jeff McClain to get the latest coming out of NovaCare with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Can I demand a leak from him? Is he the kind of guy you can just sort of put up against the wall and be like, come on, Jeff, scoop,
He won't on the air. I guarantee it. However, I guarantee you he says, I have heard some things.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I'm sure he will tweet some out because I know Jeff McClain actually got a couple before the schedule leaks came out, or before the schedule came out last year.
I think that he has been – I've gone back because Geek Boy has gone back the last 3 years. He's the best.
Yes. Yeah, he's been very good.
I will tell you this for a fact.
You know why? Because he's a great reporter.
Well,
he hates the team.
Right. Well, there's one good thing is that every NFL team knows their schedule already.
Yes.
Because their social media teams are working – since yesterday.
Yeah, they do the big video release.
Yes.
I can't wait for those.
Now, the thing is, though, can you imagine the pressure of you got to put together – because now they all try to outdo each other.
Yes, yeah.
You get it. They got it. Yeah, they got it yesterday. I know someone who works for an NFL team that got it yesterday. By the way, they gave me no leaks. But their team is working on it right now. So you got somebody
has it.
Every team has it.
Right.
And you got a lot of – figure how many people on the social media team are probably involved in putting together that video.
I mean, this is a freaking production. Connor's all excited. I
love them. I think they're fantastic. Some of them are great.
Give me a sheet of paper that tells me what.
See, Connor?
Just give me a sheet of paper.
Am I dragging you over to this? You're excited about this tomorrow,
My dumb peanut brain will see, like, people on the street misnaming teams, and I'll watch every video every time.
Oh, those ones are really funny.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be
those
one,
ones are or they give the logo and they can't get the name right.
Or
those are
schedule
hilarious.
releases like Mario characters. I'll watch all of these.
Or the
dude.
guy did like one of the teams did the Family Guy like type reveal.
My head is a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
This is perfect for me.
I'm cool with just a sheet of paper that tells me who the Eagles are playing, where and when. All right, so I gave a homework assignment to the anti-LeBron James crowd. So I want to know specifically during this segment we will focus on it. If you do not want LeBron James, forget the whole drafting Bronny James point. I'm saying specifically LeBron James because there are people that are just like, no, I don't want him. Give me a better solution. I think there are a lot of people, and I heard Bob and Amy talking about this yesterday.
They had great conversations.
They did, and I really don't understand it, but I know what they're saying. There are people that are just anti-LeBron James, the person, and I don't know how you cannot like the guy who built a school, and I know the decision rubbed people the wrong way, but all the money was given to charity. Like, I don't see how you can't like LeBron James, the person who you think he might be a little over the top with it when it comes to his son. By all accounts, he's a great dad. So when it comes to the person, I don't understand how people are anti-LeBron, but I know that there are people that are anti-LeBron James, the person.
I would say if you are anti-LeBron James, the person, who at the age of 14, 15 was a public figure, and by the time he was 17, it was off the charts.
Right.
Like it was how popular
Not many people.
and unknown he was. He's had moments of controversy, but he's never been involved in a controversy.
No, controversy has been him walking off his podium with his briefcase and his short tux pants.
Good father, good husband.
Yeah.
Good champion. Good ambassador for the sport.
Dude, the biggest controversy of LeBron James this year was saying Happy Women's Day to Jeannie Buss. Or what was it? Happy International Women's Day or something like that.
I am I admire the fact and there was we would discuss this sometimes in the morning show. To me, I can't believe that he managed to somehow have a career without scandal.
It's amazing.
He's with so much was given to him early.
Yeah.
And he has turned it into nothing but good.
No, it's amazing.
I'd be remiss to say Harper isn't doing the same thing.
No, Harper is.
But
doing
Harper didn't start out like LeBron.
Early, the clown question, bro. And
He started.
His teammates loved it. He gave Papelbon a big hug around the neck.
Well, no.
That was just.
But
that was just roughhousing.
It didn't start out for LeBron James showed up day one,
ready to go.
So it's amazing.
Right. But so I want because there are people that are just anti-LeBron, the person. Well, if you don't want LeBron James here because you don't like him for whatever reason, again, give me a better scenario. Give me a better result. Give me a better plan that will lead the Sixers to winning a championship. I know you have plans because this is your job, damn it. But there are people that are just like, no, I don't want him.
No,
All
I
right,
got
then
you.
give me a better solution. And I said going into the break, I guarantee you we don't come up with many because there's a lot of people that can't think of a better solution. They just don't want LeBron James for whatever lunatic reason. But, John, you're a lunatic, so what do we have?
I am a lunatic. There are two guys who are on the trade block officially.
Okay.
You can have Trae Young or you can have DeJounte Murray.
Don't tell me you think Trae Young's a better option than LeBron James.
I think if you're talking about a long-term and also, too, the benefits, I think Trae Young, who I do not.
I know you don't like.
I'm not a big fan. But Trae Young, boy, does he open up things for Maxey and does he open up things for Joel Embiid's game?
I first pointed out to you guys that he's a good fit because he's a point guard who can also score, but I'm still going LeBron over Trae Young.
And he's got because he's got tons of years of his prime left. There's tons of years of prime that you can have Trae Young. Plus, DeJounte Murray to me would be a fine option.
I don't think DeJounte Murray and Tyrese Maxey work together.
Okay, tell me why on that one, because that is one that I had. That was like a 1A on the Hawks line.
I think DeJounte Murray needs to shoot the ball 20, 25 times a game.
A volume.
So does Tyrese Maxey.
He needs a volume of production.
So does Joel Embiid.
That wouldn't be working.
This goes back to, remember when we had Keith Pompey on? He thinks the third player needs to be somebody that's not going to shoot the ball all that much. They're going to take their shots, right? But it's going to be the Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid show. You can't bring in DeJounte Murray and expect all three of them to get their shots up.
But do we all agree that Trae Young would be somebody who would absolutely transform this team?
I pointed out to you first.
Okay, so
Would
you're saying
fit?
that. But wouldn't he
Yes.
have to shoot? Wouldn't he have to shoot a ton? Trae Young's a volume shooter.
Well,
Trae Young's also a facilitator.
Yeah, think
He
about
is.
that high pick and roll lob backside to Clint Capella that killed
Right.
you in that playoff series.
No,
but
to
here's the
me-
thing. You're not doing that with Joel Embiid.
No, but you're doing it with somebody. You got
could.
other spots.
And to me, I think Trae Young with 6-7 years left of prime basketball in him easily, I think it's a better option, even though I don't prefer Trae Young.
See,
I
I
think
still
it's a
think
huge.
I still think LeBron James gives me almost a lock to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
yeah.
I think if Trae Young's a Sixer, you are a preseason. Sixers are picked as a 2 seed.
All right.
That's to me. By the way, go get me Isaiah Hartenstein too, from the Knicks.
Oh, man, dude. Are you
Unrestricted
going to
free-
pick everybody with the most annoying
I'm
game
sorry,
in the NBA?
Unrestricted free agent. That is I don't know how you built a roster last year.
yeah.
Without a good
And you
backup
had a
center.
chance
I
to
know.
do it, and you were like, I argued this one with Bob.
John,
Like, it's only 8 minutes a game. The 8 minutes a game is why you lost the Knicks series.
John, they're both great fits. But can you pick someone who doesn't make me want to scoop my eyeballs out of my head when I watch him play?
All right, hold on a second. We got an immediate reaction to your Trae Young scenario.
All right.
Jordan and Chester. What's up, Jordan?
What's up, Andrew? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I was good until I heard Trae Young name. But first, I mean, Trae Young, bro, nothing against him. Offensively, he's great, but he's little and he don't play defense. So like, I
And
don't
now
think
you
that's
have
what he's
Maxey and Trae Young not playing defense at the top of the key either.
doing. That don't really fit with us. And DeJounte Murray is a great player, but I watched him have 44 points on 44 shots. I
Right.
don't need that on my
Okay,
team
I
right
can
now.
go back and show you games where Kobe Bryant did the same exact thing.
Yeah, but he's not good.
No, but I'm saying to you is that you're cherry picking there. He doesn't usually need 44 shots to get 44.
Hey, he shoots the ball off.
He does, and that's a good
why
point.
I'm totally against it. Because DeJounte Murray, and thanks for the call, Jordan. I appreciate it, brother. DeJounte Murray, let me just pull up the actual numbers for you.
He's a volume. He needs a volume.
He attempted 18 field goals a game last year. So Maxey's going to be in the 20s, and Embiid's going to be in the 20s.
Would you rather have, like, if Trae Young came here, who would you want shooting more, Maxey or Trae Young?
Maxey.
You'd
And
want Maxey shooting
Trae
more?
Young would be more of a facilitator, which, by the way, he's still a facilitator. Like, even in Atlanta, whether it's
He
been
is. He's a
Clint
great
Capella,
facilitator.
whether it's been DeJounte Murray, he has been a great
And
facilitator.
do we not? You have brought up many times about what's something that you want out of Darryl this year is somebody who can hit the outside three.
Yes.
Which is something they're
and
missing.
he could do that.
Yeah.
So, but
it's
so can LeBron James
okay
at a
but again-
41% clip.
But again, you're talking about where you can do one guy that you're actually building something. You're actually building around Joel Embiid, which is what, by the way, Joel Embiid would take my answer. Because he's asked for it. He's
I
asked for it.
strongly disagree. I don't think he's saying that,
He
dude.
wants a long-term continuity. He pointed to the Nuggets. They played together 5, 6, 7 years. He wants continuity.
Okay.
You remember the
John
piano
Young will be
teacher
continuity.
conversation
Yeah.
about how LeBron's different weight? I don't think LeBron fits in that
But
continuity
John,
conversation.
he may want something that he may not be able to get.
That's the truth.
I don't know how long the runway is. I really don't. I don't know how much longer Joel Embiid's going to be playing at this elite level.
What would you guess?
I'm
3,
going to
4?
guess elite level 3 years, and then maybe, as I've pointed out, the Shaq role where Tyrese Maxey's now Dwayne Wade. He's now the best player on the team, but he is still very good.
Can you see that? And you in your head, can you? I can absolutely in my head envision Maxey becoming Dwayne Wade.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yes.
That potential.
I think he's only going to get better.
So I like that idea. That's why I think Trae Young's a much better idea.
Now, I know we have a solution on text, and Connor may have told me it may not be a great one, but hey, at least he's trying. There are a lot of cowards out
Is
there.
it scoop your
There's
eyes
a
out?
lot of cowards out there that I don't want LeBron, but you won't give me a better solution.
All right, what is
So
it?
what do we got?
That's a hell of a lead into what I'm about to read you right now. No name on this text. First time
that's
texter, too. Anyone other than LeBron is
come on.
better.
No, it's not. That's
No, it's
stupid.
not.
I'm
He's
sorry.
good, but also a team cancer. He takes over and
Team-
eventually destroys the team.
Cancer. He's won 5 championships. Team Cancer, my ass. Oh my God! How can a Cancer win 5 titles?
That is a. If you wanted to say to me a guy who gets coaches fired,
Could
yes.
be.
Team Cancer, I do not agree with.
That was a shot. You guys ready for the chaser? Hayes from South Philly checks in.
What's
Says,
up, Hayes?
I absolutely cannot stand LeBron James, but there is not a better solution for
All right,
the
thank
Sixers
you.
team.
All right,
we don't
good.
need to waste money on anyone who we know will get hurt.
Way to
Better
put
than
your
Paul
personal
George.
bias. That's personal bias aside.
Wait a
I
minute.
appreciate
Wait a
that,
minute.
Hayes.
Trae Young's less likely to get hurt than LeBron James, and he also has many. He has quadrupled the years left of prime basketball.
Yeah, I don't think Trae Young's a bad option.
No, what I'm
I
saying
think
is
LeBron James is
I
better.
think LeBron James
there
is a better option.
It's you're taking one shot or you're taking a long-term view.
John, as I've told you before, I don't care about 5 years from now, baby. I care about the here and now.
You and Daryl Morey should just be like hanging out at the hookah bar together. You could just be enjoying it.
Sure,
Is
why
he a
not?
hookah guy?
I'm anti-hookah, but sure. Maybe if Daryl wants to smoke some hookah, I'll bring my own. We'll hang out.
Let's break.
All right, coming up
Before we
next.
get too deep into that.
The Phillies that we have not talked that much about today won again yesterday. So everyone knows that Ranger Suarez has been very good this season, great this season.
Great.
I don't think people realize that he's been historic.
Really?
I told you Jason Stark joined the best show ever yesterday. He's going to tell you some things about Ranger Suarez that will blow your mind. You'll hear it next. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Bob Cooney.
A lot of
97.5 The Fanatic. Don't worry, guys. I'm an idiot. I couldn't find it.
I'm so proud of you.
Behind the curtain, I couldn't find the sheet of paper I needed, but I have it. I got it.
Wow.
I want to tell you about the Fanatic Deal of the Week. New Jersey Motorsports Park. They should just rename it Andrew Salciunas Motorsports Park because I'd wreck you guys in all of these games. Get a $100 gift card to New Jersey Motorsports Park for just $50, a half off. Located in Millville, New Jersey, you'll be able to experience high-speed thrills with arrive and drive go-karting. I'd win that. Plus axe throwing. I'd win that. And a wide-ranging menu at the Finish Line Pub. I might be able to win a couple of games at the pub, too. I don't know. My chug game's kind of weak, I'll be honest.
I thought you were going to challenge me to darts.
I'm a volume guy. I'm not a speed guy.
I thought you were going to challenge me to darts or shuffleboard.
I could probably kick your ass in those, too.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Get this
Okay, have your
exclusive
money ready.
offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. You know, if our sales staff was smart, they'd be like, oh, wow, Andrew's talking a lot of smack. We should probably get these guys out here.
You
does
wouldn't
sound
win
swag.
go-karts.
Huh?
John would win go-karts.
Why?
Because I'd put you into the wall.
Oh, you're going to play dirty. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Rubbing's racing, baby.
I love those tracks.
Rubbin's racing.
Rubbin's
you never
racing.
heard that?
You don't know that. You know that expression.
Guys, I don't watch the NASCAR.
This guy thinks he's winning go-karts.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't even know.
All right, so yesterday, Jason Stark joined the best show ever, and they started talking about Ranger Suarez. And I said it going into the break. We've known that he's been great. He's not been good this season. He has been great. He's been historic, John. See, Jason Stark, you mentioned earlier, he's a historian.
No, Jason Stark is freaking unbelievable.
He's amazing, and he always has incredible facts and stats and analysis. And so yesterday they started talking about Ranger Suarez. And, John, he's doing something that no one's done in over 100 years.
In our lifetime, we haven't seen this. You know, a guy who's 7-0 with an ERA of 1.5 after 8 starts, and his WHIP is down to 0.72. Here's some perspective on this that came from my friends from Stats. Since 1900, there have only been 4 pitchers who have had a WHIP that good, had made 8 starts, and their team had won all 8 of them. One of them is Ranger Suarez. The most recent of the other 3 pitched in 1908. That's how good this guy's been. We haven't seen it since 1908.
Dude, it's been over 100 years. He has had a historic start to the season.
That's absolutely wild because I would have thought that like a Greg Maddux.
Right.
Somebody like that. Because when I watch Ranger, the pitcher who comes to mind to me is Greg Maddux. Pitch to
I can see that.
Pitch to contact.
Hit corners.
Hit corners. Like, that's who I think of. And that's high praise. That's who I think of. I can't believe that number.
Dude, 1908.
incredible.
That's the beauty of baseball because you get these random stats every single year. First time since so-and-so. How many times was the Ohtani Trout the running joke of this
the
hasn't been
tungsten
done?
arm Odor.
Yeah, it hasn't been done. It's amazing. But Ranger Suarez is doing stuff through 8 starts, by the way. Through 8 starts. Not like it's been 1 or 2 starts first time since 1908. No, he's done something through 8 starts this year that hasn't been done since 1908. And he also talked about Rangers' changeup being one of the best pitches in baseball.
His changeup has been borderline the best pitch in the sport. I don't know if you guys have seen this. He's thrown 129 changeups this year. You know how many hits he's given up? 1 hit out of 129 of these things.
Okay, that's wild.
It's just been an untouchable pitch.
So Ranger Suarez is doing something that hasn't been done since 1908, and then his changeup, what was it, 119 changeups thrown?
Yeah.
1 for 119 batters are against his changeup.
That's wild.
That's how good this freaking guy has been this season.
That's wild.
And we all expected good things this year because the visa, he finally had his visa. He was going into a season healthy. We knew his role. We knew that he was going to be a starting pitcher. It wasn't that long ago that there was still confusion whether or not he was going to be a long man or a starter. This is the first year going into spring training that he was healthy, on time, knowing his role. But I don't think anybody expected him to be this good. This good. I know you've given Ricky Bottalico his flowers, deservedly so. He knew it years ago. He knew it years ago.
Ricky has seriously called this over and over
But
again.
I would think Ricky didn't even expect him to be doing stuff for the first time since freaking 1908.
No, it's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable. Like it would.
When did the airplane get invented?
It's a great.
19.
I feel like it's 1910 or something.
Yeah, I mean.
Or 1900, whatever.
I know it's Kitty
It's
Hawk.
pretty darn close.
It's Kitty Hawk.
We'll look it up. I'm efforting that information.
1903.
Missed it by 5
North
years.
Carolina.
So come on, man.
One of those
Come on,
pitchers
Ranger.
might have been throwing before the airplane.
Well, yeah, he said 4 since 1900. The last one was 1908, so it could have been 1902 for all we
insane,
know.
dude.
It's amazing the numbers that Ranger Suarez has been putting together so far this season. Let's go to Hassan in Philly. What's up, Hassan?
How you doing?
Good, man.
Good
How are
job.
you?
I'm good. I just wanted to talk about the Trae Young and LeBron thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like if you go with LeBron, right, and you draft Bronny, whether Bronny play in the G League or he get actual minutes in the NBA, I think it'd be fine because you say, like, you brought Kyle Lowry in here to play make, open up things. And amongst the NBA prospects, Bronny is an actual good defender and playmaker, and I'd rather have somebody who can actually grow and probably be something later on.
Hassan, I'm going to tell you this right now. You draft Bronny James, he may be playing 5 minutes a game.
Bronny, he can't play 5 minutes a game in the NBA.
Right, but also, like, you draft him for a long term, and he could be growing into something in years. Like,
I'm going to say this again, respectfully to Bronny James. I am not drafting Bronny James for a long-term plan.
By minutes.
I am drafting Bronny James for his father. And I'm sorry, that sounds harsh, but that's what I'm doing.
By minutes played. Minutes played.
All right.
He was a
And
bottom 5 player in the Pac-12. He was a bottom 5 player in the entire conference. For the amount of minutes played, his production. He is not an NBA player. He's not a G League player.
And I understand all that. All right, so I agree with you on that then. And the Trae Young one,
Yes.
I think that's actually perfectly fine. Like,
He'd be a
talking
good
about-
fit.
Yeah, everybody talk about defenders in the NBA, and he don't play no defense. And year after year, no matter what team, like they say they got great perimeter defenders. I watched them get cooked.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it happens every year. You're right,
Yeah,
Hassan, and we appreciate the call, man. Sorry, we're up against it. Look, I'll tell you right now, I would still rather have a 3 before Trae Young.
Okay.
But I do think Trae Young is a good fit on this team.
And you brought up Trae Young's name, by the way.
The second it came out that he might be traded this offseason, I said, look, this does make sense, but I know people here don't like Trae Young. You yourself, not the biggest Trae Young fan.
Plus, we would have a field day with his father.
Coming up next,
I can tell
we
you.
do our show reset. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas at 8:05, and then at 8:10 we'll be joined by Jeff McClain, as we are every single Tuesday. So big 8 o'clock hour coming your way next. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies steal.
us. We have today's headlines with Connor Thomas coming your way at 8:05. Jeff McClain from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, will be joining us at 8:10 to talk about the latest with your Philadelphia Eagles as we are getting closer and closer to schedule release day. Haley just told me that Shefty put out another tweet. We have Kansas City, another Kansas City game, because we know that they're playing the first game against the Ravens. They'll be taking on Joey Burrow and the Bengals in week 2. So that's a tough first 2 games for the Chiefs.
That's bad scheduling in the NFL's part.
John, I will tell you this.
Your 2 biggest games?
It's something that I don't agree with you. I don't care if it's week 1, week 10, week 16. Give me a good game. I want it.
Yeah, but the 2 biggest games being played then in September, I just don't think that's good.
I just hate when there's a bad slate. If you give me at least one good game every single week, marquee matchup every single week, I'm all for it.
I also think they may be learning something from the Rodgers deal because they had the Jets a lot scheduled for big games.
Yeah.
And by the time you get later into the season, you don't know what these rosters look like.
By the time you get to the first quarter.
Well,
yeah.
that's just the Jets.
You got hers crazy. You know, let me talk to you about that. Thank you for bringing that up. It's something that I forgot to mention. No problem. I thought about this morning because I knew we were going to talk about the leadership conversation today. So if you're just tuning in, what we started off the show talking about is what we expect/demand, because that's 2 separate things, right? Expect off of example, but also being willing to talk. And I don't agree with you there, but I understand that Jalen Hurts probably should have opened up his mouth after A.J. Brown told the truth about that play against Seattle. I was cool with them not talking about it because maybe Sirianni said, hey, guys, I got this, and that's part of the job of a head coach is taking the fall for things. But once A.J. Brown tells the truth, Jalen Hurts probably should have said something, and I'm kind of disappointed that he still hasn't. But you talk about how you want the best players to talk, and in a lot of cities, most cities, the best players do talk. Aaron Rodgers needs to talk less.
Aaron Rodgers to me is, and it's weird because he is, but he's not the leader of the Jets. He is the most famous player on the Jets, but you don't walk into a locker room, in an NFL locker room, that I've observed and said, okay, day one you walk in, you're the leader. All of a sudden, 52 guys come.
But I do think it's different for different people, and Aaron Rodgers is very well known.
And there were people that will tell you he wasn't the leader in Green Bay when he was there forever.
Right, I got you.
That he was a guy who alienated a lot of his teammates.
But I would think that a lot of people expect Aaron Rodgers to be the guy that talks a lot because he's the quarterback.
Well,
he's a high-paid player. And I think he's a guy that probably needs to talk less. I would rather have Jalen Hurts spewing hallmark and barely talking at all than a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's running for office.
I would absolutely anytime rather root for Jalen Hurts.
I'm not saying rooting.
No, I'm just saying is everything about Jalen Hurts, even with the foibles, the missteps of the past year.
Right.
I would take him 100 out of 100 over having Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback.
Speaking of quarterback issues, there's a report from Ty Dunn, not Ray Dunn. I don't think there's any relation. Ty Dunn just covers the NFL, used to work for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and also Bleacher Report. So he put out a story about Justin Fields and how the quarterback room in 2021 was, quote, toxic as hell with Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, and Nick Foles.
I forgot he was on that team.
Here's a blurb from the story. There were several arguments amongst the quarterbacks. Once, per one source, Foles was trying to teach something to Fields in the quarterback room, and upon turning toward the rookie, Foles realized Fields wasn't even paying attention.
Okay, that's terrible.
Had his head down, and at that point, Foles was done trying to play mentor. The two could not stand each other.
Okay, that's wild.
The guy won a Super Bowl. And, oh, by the way, is Nick Foles a bad dude? I thought he was like the nicest man in the world.
No, he is
Depends if he's dating your ex-girlfriend.
That's
But he's a guy who honestly, you got to listen.
Yeah.
You have to listen to veterans like that.
So maybe that's why the Eagles didn't get Justin Fields to be the backup quarterback to Jalen Hurts.
I would tell you, too, is that Justin Fields, and I observed it firsthand, when he was the backup at Georgia in his freshman year, and he wasn't getting opportunities to play, he was a terrible teammate. Teammate.
Maybe that's why it's the Kenny Pickett show in Philadelphia. All right, it's 8:05. Time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What up, Connor?
What's up, boys? How we feeling?
Lovely. What do we got?
Hi, Connor.
So, I know we know about the call from last night. The Whit Merrifield swing, no swing. There was obviously a swing. And
What?
Well,
The umpire said it wasn't a swing, so that means
Please.
it wasn't a swing.
That was
he might
terrible.
have. But shout out to Nick Picone on Twitter, who does a great job of grabbing all the audio from
Yes, he
different
does.
channels and everything. Posted the Mets broadcast reaction to that. This is going to be fun.
3-1. And a half swing. It's a call strike on a slider. No, they say he didn't swing. Wow. And it was not a strike. And that's ball 4. Wow. You got to be kidding me. The ball was outside. Yeah, but he swung. I understand that. First base umpire Ryan Addison said no swing, and Carlos Mendoza is beside himself, and now the bases are loaded for Alec Bohm.
Come on.
Wow.
We'd be losing our minds today.
Great control
that
of the
happened.
bat. Great control of the
Yeah,
bat
well
there,
done.
Whit. Great job.
We would be losing our mind, but screw him.
Yeah, I say no. I love it. Anything that causes the Mets pain, I'm all
It's
in.
those strong forearms he has. Be
Oh,
able to
yeah.
keep that bat back. Good job, Whit.
Absolutely. All right, we're moving on. So the Mariners and Royals played yesterday
All right.
out in Seattle. You might be wondering, why are we talking about this?
I am.
Because I'm a Seattle Mariners fan.
Of course.
Second favorite.
Not just that, but because this happened. Take a listen.
I lift the opposite way. MJ Melendez is into the corner, and you talk about a basket catch, and it's true as form. The 1-1. Again, this one a little straightened out a little bit more. Let's see. Into the corner. What we got? He's got both! He got them both!
A fan caught 2 consecutive foul balls.
That's wild. Yeah, it is wild.
That has never happened before. I'm going to tell you right now, without any information to back it up, there's no way that's ever happened before.
Jason
Well, it
Stark
happens at
would
A's
know.
games all the time. The only fan.
Jason Stark would know the answer.
That's a good point. If there's nobody there. But
That's
no,
wild.
I'm going to say that's never happened before.
So what's the luckiest thing that's ever happened to you guys? Because that's a great day at the yard.
I caught a foul. I caught a foul ball on a deflection from Kerry Wood. A Kerry Wood pitch fouled off in a Braves playoff game, Braves Cubs. I think it was 2003, and national TV.
Ooh.
Caught it off the deflection off the facade. Got it. And thanks to Darren Elliott, who prompted me to turn around and give it to the kid behind me.
That's good work.
Because
That's nice.
Because I was celebrating that I got a foul ball, and then there's a kid behind me, and I turned, and then I got the big cheer.
I would say hitting an 18-leg parlay is pretty lucky.
Oh, I
Whoa.
forgot about that.
I would
18?
say 18 legs. I would say that's pretty lucky.
Okay, wow, that's pretty
That's
great.
a nice payout. I would say that's pretty lucky because I do that for fun. I never really expect it to hit.
What's the biggest one you've won below 18?
I've done 9 and 10s.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Some people.
Like, that is
All the
fantastic.
It-
But you do
yeah.
like $2?
The one that was
$3?
the 18-legger was a 10 one. $10. I felt very good about all 18 legs.
Congrats on your success.
That is fantastic. I love that.
Enter promo code Fanatic on your FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yeah, but
app.
to me, that's betting responsibly.
Yes.
$10, $5, $2,
Yes.
and then something hits like that. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess lighting money on fire with an 18-legger every once in a while is...
Doesn't light it on fire if it hits.
That's true. Let's round out with this, what you guys started the show with.
What do you view as leadership that's important? Like when you say leadership, like what is important to you?
And we talked about this, and I told you I'd give you my answer in today's headlines.
Yes.
So I will. And I got to be honest, I'm going to be selfish with this one. I'm going to be greedy. I want my best players to be leaders, too, and vocal. I do. I don't know that it's necessary.
I think you're both insane.
But if you're giving me a pick, be that guy. Like, don't you want the full package? Shouldn't we deserve that? Shouldn't we ask for that?
Yes.
So you want Jalen Hurts to talk more?
Yes.
I want him to talk less.
That's weird. Is it you know what's weird is that Connor, you and I are more aligned on this, but I completely understand those who feel like Andrew. But you got to understand this though, is that he's purposefully speaking like that.
Yeah.
He is literally giving you I'm not giving you a thing. So I'm going to expound energy to not tell you anything because that's how they were trained Saban-esque.
I wonder if that's frustrating for Jeff McClain, who we're going to be joined by momentarily. Is that frustrating for a guy that's working the beat, covering the Eagles?
I would imagine.
You're trying to get anything out of the quarterback, and you can barely get anything from it.
It's got to be because, well, there's a level of disrespect to it. is that
I don't think it's disrespectful.
No,
man. That's just who he is.
No, he's not. He's purposely doing it.
Right.
It is not who he is.
But I don't think it's to disrespect the media.
I think it's an adversary. No, I'm gonna 100% disagree with you.
Okay.
Because I know that at Alabama they are trained that the snake oil salesman, the poison comes from the media, and they create an adversarial relationship from the day they arrive on campus.
All right.
They are not your friends. They're out to get you. Don't trust them. That kind of
So we'd love to hear from you. 610-632-0975, phone line or text line. When it comes to the stars in this city, what do you expect and or demand out of them? And when it comes to the conversation about leadership, how do you define leadership? I don't need them to be the vocal rah-rah guy, either on camera or off camera. I just need them to lead by example, but clearly I'm on an island on the show because Connor and John both want them to be vocal. But let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Busy help you move forward with what's next. From the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, the great Jeff McClain joins us. Jeffrey, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. I'll ask you today's question, Jeff. We're getting into a conversation about leadership. John wants the best players on the team to be more of the vocal leaders, speaking to the media, taking the hard-hitting questions. And Jalen Hurts has to speak twice a week, but it's normally guys like Jason Kelce and Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. Those guys are gone. Should Jalen Hurts be that guy that takes that void, and do you expect him to?
Well, I think at the quarterback position, it's almost an obligation that you have to, fill that role. Now, look, I guess it's all, relative and subjective to the particular player, right? You don't want to have him go out of his comfort zone and be something that he isn't. I mean, that's, teammates will sniff that out right away if guys start acting kind of a way that they aren't, a fake way. So he has to remain authentic to himself. That being said, that doesn't mean there isn't room for a change or maybe kind of rounding out yourself as a leader and at that position. So I think that's something that John actually had talked about at the end of the season. Looking kind of inward, maybe some of the ways that he can improve upon himself, and I wouldn't be surprised to see with the departure of Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox and soon Brandon Graham to see maybe Jalen taking more of a leadership role in terms of the vocal part of it, and maybe improving some of the stuff that I think players and members of the organization had a little issue with is the body language on the sidelines, maybe not stepping up when things are down when you really need someone to kind of be that vocal leader.
When you talk about being authentic, though, Jeff, I observed it a lot in my years covering the SEC and down there and talking about it every day, that from the time they arrive in Alabama, they were programmed by Nick Saban that there was this adversarial relationship, and they were taught how to speak to the media. Is it being authentic, or is it just being purposely evasive?
Well, I think Jalen is true to himself. I mean, I think that's kind of the way he was raised by his parents, and I think Saban was kind of an extension of that. But yeah, you are right. A lot of the Alabama guys that come into the Eagles, we definitely get that sense, and they'll tell us after they've been around a little while. I mean, Landon Dickerson is a kid that has a lot of personality, awesome. Very funny, very personable. But when he first got here, you could tell that this is different than what I dealt with in Alabama, and he would kind of come out and tell us, yeah, you guys are the enemy, sort of thing, but in a joking way. And I think we've loosened them up a little bit. So I think, yeah, there's a part of that. I mean, as a member of the media, obviously I'd let these guys always talk to us and be open to us. But, I think as fans, some do understand that we are conduits to them. But, I get it from their side and their point of view. A lot of times only, bad things can come to talking some members of the media. Other ones, maybe not. But that's obviously just a kind of a learning process for some of these guys that come out of Alabama.
Jeff, has anything come of Jalen Hurts still not admitting to going rogue against the Seattle Seahawks? That's another thing that we've talked about today in terms of leadership. I was cool with Nick Sirianni taking the bullet, but once A.J. Brown told the truth, I kind of expected Jalen Hurts to also talk about it, and I don't think he ever has. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I asked him specifically about it, and it was kind of after the fact So I don't know if he was like ready to move on, sort of thing. But he definitely kind of, I can't remember the exact way he worded his response, but it was kind of like, no, these things happen. We thought it was right at the time. And I guess we'll learn from it. He didn't really take 100% ownership for it. And again, it wasn't like all on him, right? But a lot of it was as the quarterback. And it would have been nice to see him in that situation, view it that way. So, yeah, I mean, I'd have to kind of go back and look at the exact way he worded it. But
it was a very personal response from A.J. Brown where he literally said
he laid it out.
Nick Sirianni made himself look like a I forget the exact word he said, but a dope, right, for going out there and saying we tried getting an offensive pass interference penalty, whereas Jalen Hurts is saying more of the X's and O's way of response, whereas A.J. Brown straight up basically apologized without apologizing toward Nick Sirianni.
Correct. And, that was one of the issues throughout the season, and that they were giving Jalen a little more freedom at the line. And I think there were plays in which it was productive, although, everyone pointed to that Washington game when they threw the touchdown. But, they need to kind of bleed the clock there. And Washington almost won the game. It was a great play, but, you got to know situationally what you should do there. And then, obviously, in the Seattle game, that situation was not. There was time on the clock there. It didn't really need to try that home run type of throw, and it cost them. So yeah, and that's something that Jalen's going to have to kind of work on in terms of when is the right time to do that and when is the wrong time to do that. We'll see. I asked Kellen Moore about that last week, about how much freedom. What's the line between giving your quarterback that freedom in the line and then him taking it, going over the line and going too much with that. And he's like, well, you kind of answered it. There's a balance there, et cetera. But some, play callers, offensive coordinators, don't want to give quarterbacks, depending upon who it is, that much freedom. I don't think Jalen's getting the playbook at the line of scrimmage like, a few handful of quarterbacks have over the last decades. They'll give him 1 or 2 plays, sort of 2 or 3 plays sort of thing, and you can check the one versus the other. And they should do that, right? You need to be able to kind of change the plays when you go up there at the line. You see a defense that's totally different than what you were expecting. But the question is, when is it right and when is it wrong to make those calls and being ahead of the defense when deciding to do so?
Jeff, if you'd like to leak any of the schedule to me, right now, I mean, nobody's listening. You could absolutely do that. I love that. And you've had a good record, by the way, the last few years of getting some of these leaks. I want to ask you about it. I'm too bought into the schedule release. I'm a geek when it comes to it. I want you to tell us, though, when you look at the schedule when it comes out and you see it on paper, what says to you it's a good schedule, the way it's come out, and what says to you this is a bad schedule, just in general?
I'm going to be selfish here. I just look about how's it going to affect me? What do I have planned in the fall?
You're going to see the family for Christmas.
Exactly. Where am I? I look right to the Christmas date first off, and then I try, where am I going to be? How am I going to plan?
As far as the team, though, what would you say?
There are certain. There's a lot of people out there, just fans in general, that see it sometimes differently than I do. They'll go right to be like, oh, how are the Eagles getting screwed? They have to play this many teams coming off byes versus that many teams, or or they have this many road games in a row versus these other teams that don't, or anything like that. And typically it's so marginal that I think it's small potatoes sometimes to focus on that. But yeah, you definitely look at how it lays out. And, is the first half harder than the second half? It seems like with the Eagles these last few years, I mean, they've had, last year especially, they had a real tough stretch late November, early December. And what happened? I mean, they got through it at first, and then all of a sudden they just imploded.
It broke them.
So I definitely look at that. You obviously have to factor in that teams from year to year, the ones you think are great may not end up being great or good, et cetera. I mean, obviously, the ones with the top quarterbacks, they're going to be there, the Kansas Cities of the world, the Baltimores. But, that's generally what I look for is how does this schedule play out? How hard is it based upon what we saw last year? And, how many playoff teams do they have, et cetera? The Eagles, they won their division, correct?
No, they were runners-up.
They were runners-up. Yeah, so they don't have a first-place schedule.
But the Dallas schedule's actually easier. I wrote a nice piece.
Oh, really?
It's not Jeff McClain quality, but it's at 975thefanatic.com. But I broke it down where I made the case that the Dallas schedule's easier despite being the first place schedule.
Well, okay, there you go. So you're doing a lot.
You can attribute it if you'd like to reference it in one of your fine pieces at Inquirer.com. You can just say fine football mind, John Kincade.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. Do that, Jeff. If you want to watch your career burn up in flames.
I'm working my sources. I'm hoping I get at least a little nugget to jump out there. A road date, typically something that does. We obviously know the first game.
Right.
We're looking for New Orleans, by the way.
Yeah. So do that one for us, Jeff.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite road trip every year.
And I see a hurricane with your name on it on our paycheck. There you go.
I hope not.
We'll be following you along on Twitter because I know you've been great at the last couple of years. Jeff, thanks as always for coming on with us. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he is, Jeff McClain from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com on the Comcast Business Hotline. He's very, very good at it. He is number one. All right, coming up next, we'll react to what Jeff McClain had to say about Jalen Hurts and the leadership conversation. But speaking of Jalen Hurts, a quarterback that got paid a lot of money. Another one got paid buku bucks yesterday. Wow. And I will once again ask the question, why do quarterbacks with little success get paid so much money? It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We were just joined by Jeff McClain from the Inquirer.com. We appreciate Jeff for coming on with us every single week. Interesting stuff about Jalen Hurts in the beginning of the conversation, where Jalen himself realizes he needs to work on some of his leadership skills.
That was an interesting...
And I think we can all see that. And look, it was the Joe Santoliquito story comes out after the season ended that once he got paid, he was pulled in so many different directions because of, advertising and all that kind of stuff. He's not the first player where that has happened, where all of a sudden they're now doing a million more things and it's not just football anymore. And Jalen Hurts, by all accounts, wants it to just be football. Right?
Yes.
That's the story you always hear, that Jalen Hurts wants it to just be about football.
Well, that doesn't you can want anything you want.
Right, and that's not the case. It wasn't the case last year, and maybe that became a bit of an issue. But I'm glad that he at least has been open about realizing he needs to get better at that kind of stuff. That's good.
No, I think it's very good. The self-awareness is very, very important.
Yeah.
And it's I love how Jeff's very clinical, but he gets to the heart of the matter.
He does.
And and I think he feels the same way, though, that Jalen Hurts has got there's a ton of greatness.
Absolutely.
And there's just things that have to be roughed out the edges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is great.
Which is why, part of my reason why I was saying yesterday I'm going to hold him to a higher standard is because I do believe in the guy, right? Like that. How many times have you had the conversation with somebody where you're harsher on them because you love them more, or you expect more things out of them?
Yes.
Why can't I do that about Jalen Hurts?
I do that as a teacher.
Okay. Yeah.
That when I see the quality of work,
you're not the only teacher that's ever done that.
When I see the quality of work from somebody,
right?
And sometimes I'm a little rough in my evaluation. I'll go, I've seen 3 or 4, your first 3 submissions,
right?
And then I saw this one, you half-assed it,
right?
And I'll literally say, you half-assed this one.
So why should I be easier on Jalen Hurts?
No, you shouldn't.
Right? Like I should be. And look, you point out the Joel Embiid thing all the time. And you're
we're
probably
easier
right.
on Joel Embiid.
Right, because I think there's so many what ifs, and it's unfortunate that it's always injury. It's not because of lack of effort. It's because of injury every single time, which sucks.
And he fights through it.
Right,
and this year's just another example.
Right.
We have another schedule leak, by the way.
Oh, what do we got?
Ooh. Monday Night Football opener. Monday Night Football, Week 1.
All right, give me a hint.
Think of a big prominent team in the NFL hosting. Big prominent team in the NFL.
16 of them.
Big prominent
Dallas
team.
Cowboys.
No. We already know Dallas is playing.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Dallas, but the 49ers are hosting the Jets.
Okay.
So you have Aaron Rodgers has to go on the road, play a road game at 49ers.
Against the 49ers.
Yo, Week 1's sick.
And remember, last year he got hurt 3 plays into the season.
Right.
On Monday Night Football.
Yeah, look, so far so good with Week 1. And
that's a great week.
Like, so Thursday night, Friday night, Monday night, 3 great games. I know we don't necessarily love that it's Eagles-Packers because that's a conference.
I do not.
It's a conference game that you get taken away from your home field. You're going to Sao Paulo, Brazil. But from an NFL standpoint, right now, Thursday night is Ravens-Chiefs. Friday night is Eagles-Packers. Monday night is 49ers-Jets. And I'm sure they're going to have a great Sunday night game, too. This is a great start to the NFL schedule.
It's a great start.
Yeah, throw in a 1 p.m. Giants-Bears, and now we're cooking with gas.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to do W's and L's for the entire league this week.
Honestly,
not just the Eagles.
I'm sorry.
That one actually sounded real. Are you good?
That one sounded good.
I just feel like something's coming up on me there.
All right, so...
Can we do Mount Rushmores, too?
Yeah,
Can we just mail in everything?
Absolutely, man. Why not?
Mount Rushmore.
So yesterday, Jared Goff got paid. 4 years, $212 million contract extension. It includes $170 million guaranteed. Now, here's the deal. So you guys know where I've been with this quarterback thing. There are quarterbacks, way too many of which, that are getting paid without really accomplishing anything. Now, Jared Goff has gotten to a Super Bowl and what, 2 NFC? 3 NFC championship games.
He's accomplished a ton.
He has. So I can't say that Jared Goff is not deserving of said contract. But it's another big payday that somebody else will probably break. So right now, your 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL on a per-year basis, this according to Adam Schefter. Joe Burrow at number 1, $55 million.
Okay.
Jared Goff, $53. again, Burrow has reached the Super Bowl. Jared Goff has been to multiple NFC Championship games and has been to a Super Bowl. Justin Herbert, $52.5 million, has accomplished
nothing.
Squat.
Bupkis.
Squat.
Bupkis.
Got nice hair.
He's got
That's
nice
all you're
hair.
paying for.
Has accomplished
Might
nothing.
want to wash it occasionally.
Lamar Jackson, $52 million. Personally has accomplished things. Two-time MVP.
Yep.
He struggled in the playoffs.
That's been an issue for him. And again, last year they were supposed to dethrone the Chiefs.
AFC Championship game, though.
And he was horrible. Yes, AFC Championship game.
And he's not, though, a guy who like Donovan got ripped for losing 4 of them.
Right.
I mean, you got to get to 4 of them to lose
Now,
them. Is
it's
the way I
also
look
hard.
at
It's
it.
kind of like the James Harden Rockets. He's going up against the Golden State Warriors. He's got to go up against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
He had home field advantage.
Yeah,
and he was a favorite.
They should have won last year.
Yes,
They
but
should have won.
You could play Mahomes on the moon.
Yeah,
you don't have
and
an
Mahomes
advantage.
might win. And then lastly, number 5 is Jalen Hurts. And look, Jalen Hurts has gotten to a Super Bowl. So he has accomplished something. It's just amazing to me that quarterbacks are getting paid so much money. And it's funny. I remember I asked Adam Schefter about this a couple of weeks ago when we had him on. He goes, no, it's never going to change because that's just the way it is. Why is it that's the way it is?
Because if you don't have one, you're thirsty for one.
Yeah.
As thirsty as you are for LeBron James, like 2 steps from a place for mom, you are, think of these guys in their prime, a quarterback starts to come up. You're so thirsty if you don't have one as a franchise.
Right. Did anyone
that's the
think Kirk
reason.
Cousins was actually ever going to win anything?
I think he can win. I don't think he's going to win a title.
Mr. One Play. Okay.
I don't think he's winning a title.
Okay, a title. And that, to me, that's what it should come down to.
Right.
Oh, it should.
I get it. Look, you need to be able to win football games to get to the playoffs, to get to the to the Super Bowl. I understand that.
Yeah, unless they sell Super Bowl rings at Kohl's, Kirk Cousins ain't going to see one.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like there's a ceiling that you can just see sometimes. And look, there might be a year where everything clicks for Kirk Cousins. But that's never been the case, and he gets guaranteed so much money.
Okay, you're telling me you see something in Jalen Hurts that you don't see in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
What?
I already
What is
saw it.
No,
I
but what
saw
is
it.
it?
I saw an appearance in the Super Bowl.
We did see that. We absolutely
I'm
saw
saying he got paid for that. Kirk Cousins is what has he gotten paid for?
That Super Bowl appearance to me was absolutely freaking I think he outplayed. I do think he outplayed Patrick Mahomes that day.
He did.
And the crucial
got
fumble.
paid for it.
The crucial fumble was different, but I mean he still outplayed them. But I would tell you that I don't think that there's Kirk Cousins has lost playoff games that were on nothing on Kirk Cousins.
But think about the narrative with Kirk Cousins and even primetime regular season games. The dude craps himself. He's just not a big – it's not a tangible thing, but he has not risen to the moment, and he's had a lot of opportunity.
He has had opportunity.
He has, and it's just amazing to me that the quarterbacks get paid, and you hear it all the time. Oh, once the quarterback gets paid, it's going to be so hard to construct a roster. Well, then don't pay the quarterback that hasn't accomplished anything.
Like the Daniel Jones contract to me just still baffles.
He did nothing.
It baffles
nothing.
me.
And he got paid because, like you said, teams are thirsty for quarterbacks. I get that. But I feel like if you have a sense of doubt, if you're a general manager, and if you have a sense of doubt, why would you pay them that kind of money?
Here's what I would say that general manager says to Andrew Salciunas. Then give me the better option.
Starting over, drafting another quarterback.
But if you're not in a position like with Daniel Jones, they paid him after that Eagles playoff win. After that Eagles playoff win over the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They paid him that big money. You're telling me that they weren't going to pay him after he led them to a playoff berth? I mean, at that point, are they going to start? Are they going to start over again? First year coach, Brian Dable, wins Coach of the Year. They're in the playoffs. They're playing the Eagles, and they were heavy underdogs against the Eagles. You're telling me at that point you're going to tell your fan base, we're getting rid of Daniel Jones and we're starting over. I don't believe you are.
But here's the thing. Sometimes you shouldn't care about the fan base. Sometimes, a lot of times you should.
I got you.
I don't think anyone thought that Daniel Jones was going to be this quarterback that will carve up defenses. I said this before, well before contract talk. There's nothing that I like about him, except that he can run a little bit. He is very fast.
That's it. I got to tell you, I liked him coming out of college. I really did. I thought
zero interest.
I liked him coming out of college. I saw him play in the ACC. I think I was shocked, and I think in a different situation, he could be Jared Goff. I think in a different situation, he could be Jared Goff.
We'll see.
Yeah, in the XFL.
No. I don't think it's that.
It's just amazing. Like, these quarterback contracts, they're going to get higher and higher and higher. That's going to take up more and more and more of the cap. And teams will say the same thing. Oh, how come we didn't win when we had Justin Herbert? Well, because Justin Herbert didn't do anything to get that contract. You gave him the contract, and then you couldn't build around him. It's an amazing thing. I know I'm going to be yelling. I'm basically yelling at clouds because it's never going to change. It's just amazing to me that these guys get awarded these big contracts. It affects the rest of the team. And then they win nothing about it, and they go, oh, how come they never won with this guy?
I can't. The Justin Herbert thing just shocks me.
It's amazing, man. All right, so there was a schedule leak yesterday, another one.
Another one?
And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm already going to get annoyed by it because it's going to get way too overhyped. I'll tell you what that game is. It's Kincade Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, Around the Bases with Andrew Salciunas on 97.5.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We thank you for joining us today. We're going to get back to our conversation about leadership and what we expect and demand out of our stars. Think about this for the 9 o'clock hour, because so far we focus heavily on the leadership. What else do you expect or demand out of our stars? Think about that, all right? We'll talk about that in the 9 o'clock hour, because this is a city, I saw B. Gunn tweeted it out, this is a city where we celebrate Boban Marjanovic. We celebrate so many mediocre players.
I've said it before. We celebrate Buddy Ryan and deride Andy Reid.
Right, exactly.
We take the mediocre to below mediocre, and we deride guys like Andy Reid.
Right. So obviously it's because we do hold them to a different standard, but sometimes I think it's completely unfair how we react with some of our stars. But I want to know, what else do you expect and demand out of the stars of these teams, not just the leadership qualities? But we'll get back to that conversation. We'll also talk more about LeBron James, because there are people that don't want LeBron James, and I think it's lunacy if you don't want LeBron James.
You've made that very clear.
I've made it very, very clear.
You've made it very clear.
And I put a challenge, and Connor, maybe somebody sent one in later.
We have one, yeah.
We have one. All right, so for the final hour of the show, I'm going to give you a little extra time. Last time I only gave you 5 minutes to figure it out. I'm now giving you 10 minutes and 15 seconds. And we will look at these in the 9 o'clock hour.
Okay.
If you do not want LeBron James, for whatever reason, personal hatred of a great human being, thinking thinking because he's just too old, even though he's playing at a higher clip than younger players in the NBA, for whatever reason that you don't want LeBron James, I need you to tell me a better solution, and don't just tell me, oh, I just don't want him. Give me a better solution, because this is an off season where Daryl Morey has to get to work, right? So there are options. Give me a better solution if you don't want LeBron James. Text those in, call those in, 610-632-0975.
Thing is, though, you do, and I'm going to tell you where you have a little flaw in this.
Okay.
You reject every premise that nobody's as good as LeBron. Like, even when somebody says to you something like, this is a long-term solution. I think what we have seen Joel Embiid speak of, what we've seen them, that he has been adamant about it multiple times now, continuity. Long-term. I think there's a difference, is that I think what Joel wants is something long-term. I don't think he wants a quick fix.
I think there's exceptions, though.
Okay.
Also, should Joel get what he wants?
I think he should be a part of the conversation.
I think he should be a part of it. I don't think he should make the call. But
Because
I think
how long's his window?
But his continuity is what he mentioned multiple times.
But as I said earlier, I don't know what he wants is what's actually possible. I don't know how long that runway is.
No, you're right.
I really don't. So give me a legitimate solution if you do not want LeBron James going to the Sixers. I can't believe I'm even asking that question. But real quick, so we had another schedule leak yesterday, or as Adam Schefter has pointed out, these are not leaks because the networks are allowed to do this or something like that. He tried explaining it on social media. But we have another game that we know will be happening. So we know about Thursday night, Ravens at the Chiefs. Friday night, Eagles, Packers, Sao Paulo. Monday night, it's the 49ers hosting Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Well, we also know America's Game of the Week on Fox. 4:25, the Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, no, they host them. Cleveland hosts them, I believe.
It says Browns versus.
Yeah, but it's Cleveland. It's at Cleveland.
Yeah.
No, it's at Cleveland.
Who says Browns versus Cowboys?
It's terrible. Yeah, the game is in Cleveland.
Okay, the game's in Cleveland. That's a sports thing.
Yeah,
Browns versus Cleveland?
That's terrible.
Or Browns versus Cowboys? Okay, whatever. So it's in Cleveland. But the reason why it's America's Game of the Week, not just because it's Browns and Cowboys, and the reason why people are talking about it, it's also the first game that Tom Brady will be the color analyst. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be so annoyed by this because it's going to be so overhyped. That's actually not that great of a game.
Do you think he's going to be bad?
I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I know. Okay. I mean, the premise is it's going to bother you so much, but you do care. You obviously care a lot.
No, it's annoying that it's going to be talked more that it's going to be Brady's first game as a color analyst than it will actually be Browns versus Cowboys.
If you talk about it will. Yeah, I mean, if you talk about it.
It's not me talking about it. It's the fact that I know it's going to be all over social media. I know it's going to be all over the talking networks. Everyone's going to be talking about how this is going to be Brady's first game. It's going to be more about Brady than it will be Browns-Cowboys. Mark my words.
Maybe. I think it'll be neat.
I can't wait to hear him, Carolinas, because I think he's smart.
Yeah.
I think he's really smart about the game, and I think that when I have heard him talk about in free form, like the Mannings with the Mannings and things like that, I've actually found myself going, okay, he's a little more likable than I thought.
Oh, dude,
he was.
I like that. I don't hate the guy.
I'm not a fan.
I thought the roast was hilarious. I'm glad that he did that. I'm annoyed that this is probably going to be the bigger story than the game itself. Look, seriously, Adam Schefter puts out the tweet, Browns-Cowboys, and it's the photo of the two helmets, and then it's a photo of Tom Brady.
I got you.
Like, that's what the story of the game will end up being.
They're going to, well, yeah. I mean, I look at it as I think that I think that Cleveland's going to be a good team. And I'm looking
at that. If Deshaun Watson can play quarterback.
I might give him a loss. That's what I'm saying. Give him a loss.
I'll ask you, are you going to seek it out?
Oh, well, it's the
Eagles
game.
play
It's
Friday
that time.
night.
Yeah, but it's Sunday prime time. That 4:25 game, I always watch it.
Okay.
I always watch. Now, seek it out. I always seek out that game.
Okay.
So that's like.
Also, you're hoping the Cowboys lose.
That would be nice
I'll
as well.
root against the Cowboys every time.
That would be nice as well. All right, coming up next, what do you want from your stars? What do you expect and demand? We'll continue the conversation of leadership, but I want to give some other answers as well. That's what we've been focusing on for the majority of the show. And what do you categorize as a leader? Answer us those questions. And if you are anti-LeBron, give me a better solution. Don't run away now and hide. Give me a legitimate, better solution. 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies take down the Mets.
morning talking about a boatload of topics, trying to figure out what we should expect and demand, or what you expect and demand out of your stars for all the teams in Philadelphia, and also the conversation about leadership, because John's biggest thing, that the jumping off point of this topic was what you said yesterday. You told me off air that you wanted to get into it a little bit about how this city specifically,
it's very different.
The stars aren't normally the ones that are in front of the camera all that much.
The spokespeople.
Right.
It's other guys that step up to be the team spokesperson. And there's many times too we gravitate towards other guys too.
We do.
A fan base. But we're tough on our stars.
No, we are very tough on our stars.
Like every time I see Jalen Brunson being just front and center, speaking for the Knicks, and doing it, by the way, very eloquently, very fantastic job of it. It makes it thing. I heard of the whole thing with Anthony Edwards and Shane Gilchrist-Alexander, where they had to go and do media training for the playoffs because they knew you're front and center, you're the star guy, be prepared for it, and it's paid off for both of them. I just think that in this town, a lot of times the stars aren't the people who speak for their team. And as Jeff McClain pointed out before, he goes, you do want when things are going bad,
right?
You want to hear from your best players, not the other guys. You want to hear from the best players, and a lot of times we don't get that.
And one of the things that Jeff also brought up was Jalen Hurts also on the sideline, the body language, right?
Right.
It's celebrated when he sits there robotic when they're winning, but it's criticized when they're losing. I remember having this conversation with Ray Dunn, who you'll hear with Bob Cooney on the Midday Show today. And I was okay with the criticism of him being robotic when they were losing, because sometimes when you're losing, you have to uplift the team. Like, you can't just sit there, right? You have to try to be a leader in other ways. And that's something that he failed at doing last year. And look, again, to his credit, we had Jeff McClain on. Jalen Hurts has been open about trying to get better at that. And
he has.
Yeah, and I expect him to get. I always expect Jalen Hurts to get better at everything. So I imagine that he'll be able to.
I mean, I guarantee you he is. I likened it earlier to the Bryce Harper thing. We all admire Bryce Harper. Now is the epitome. Now at this point in his career, he is the epitome of what you want young players to watch. Work ethic. How to do it. But verbally, he's not. So he brings a ton of great stuff to the table.
Right.
It's just when things go poorly, you expect your best players to be the ones that step up. Thankfully for the Phillies, we haven't had a ton of that.
No, we have not.
There are subtle differences with Harper to Hurts, though. Like, do you remember, I forget who hit the home run. It might have been the Schwarber home run in San Diego where his eyes were wide open.
Yeah.
He has those reactions in a game. When he hits a home run, he'll give you a little bit of, like, the chest.
Well, and then there's also, I'm glad you brought up a playoff moment. I think it was last year's playoffs. Didn't he pull Alec Boehm aside and basically told him what
they said? But they said that it was. He said no, he admitted later. He said we said nothing.
Oh,
he admitted later that there wasn't any. Like everybody was reading into
it. Making dinner plans.
He made it that they were just.
Hey, Alec, the hair's looking good today.
He was trying to make sure he was calm, relaxed, and everything. He wasn't giving him inside of the pitch.
All right, well then that's still great. That's still great leadership. If that's the case, that's still great leadership.
Because he's saying, "Hey, calm down,
so
kid.
that doesn't mean like he doesn't have to go in front of a camera all the time. If he's doing stuff like that in the game, that's great. That to me, that's leadership. And I know, look, both you guys would prefer them to be more vocal, and I get it. I don't care.
Well, I gave you a specific example.
I really don't. Yes.
I gave you a specific example. When things go poorly, last year during the skid, Jalen Hurts was hiding out. And was not telling us the truth, and was not answering questions, and was doing the deflection thing, and literally messed up a game in Seattle because he decided to go rogue.
Yeah, but you know what's
wouldn't
funny?
Take responsibility for it.
The second Britton Covey tells the truth, there's backlash.
Oh no, there was backlash.
So maybe nobody wanted Jalen Hurts, or maybe nobody wanted to talk about what was going on inside the locker room.
I think Nick Sirianni would have loved him to take responsibility. Nick Sirianni would have loved him.
I'm sure.
I bet Brian Johnson would have loved him to take responsibility, because Brian Johnson gets called out, and it was all because Brian Johnson schemed two guys wide open that could have gotten that game to minimum of overtime, and Jalen Hurts won't throw him the life preserver.
Yeah.
Instead, worrying about covering it up for himself. I don't like it. I just think that, but that's a momentary thing. There are tons of things you like about his leadership.
Right.
Jalen Hurts displays every day the first in, last out mentality.
Last out, yeah.
The idea of being there for younger players.
Yeah.
It's in there. So he has a lot of great attributes of a leader. But when things are going rough, I learn a lot more about you when things are going rough than when things are going well.
And we'll see if he can get better at that this season. Coming up in about 10 minutes, still in this segment, a tweet about men.
About men.
About men.
This is very general.
It is.
Hey, I'm one of those.
But,
yes.
John, I don't know if you and I can speak well to it.
Interesting.
Because we're not single.
Oh.
Okay, well, if we know someone who can.
We have the quota of the single man on the show. So, Connor, I'm going to ask you a question later on in the segment, okay?
Study for it, Connor.
I'm an expert. I don't have to.
But I asked you guys a question. What else do you expect and demand out of your stars? So your biggest thing has been so far the leadership and
well, I think leadership
being
by,
vocal.
But I love your leadership by example.
That's number one.
Because I think it's 1 and 1A to me.
Right.
And it can and sometimes it can change. If I have a young team, I want Bryce Harper to be leading by example more than by leading vocally.
Right.
But what else do I want? I always want to me it's accountability.
Okay.
I always listen to the sound bites, and Joel Embiid is not good at this. Always point out what you did wrong first, what you could do better first before you ever point a finger and say, but they didn't do that. As a team, we didn't do that. Take the personal responsibility, then take the.
Okay.
Then take.
And
that.
I think he did do better at it, but then again, Game 4 when his first thing was about the crowd.
Correct.
Even though I didn't totally disagree with him, but
well, no, I didn't totally disagree with him. But again, he deflected. The Hawks series, he deflected. He deflected.
Accountability.
Like to me, he doesn't. I don't think he's been very good at mostly any time of his career.
This kind of goes back to being vocal and being the person that answers the hard-hitting questions.
And maybe someone's going to say to me, then, John, you don't want him to talk because he annoys you when he talks because he doesn't talk. He's not accountable. He has not been an accountable player enough, in my mind.
To me, it's just, again, leading by example, but in the big moments, stepping up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like Bryce Harper hitting the home run against the Padres in Game 5
was spectacular.
But that's literally like what you dreamt of as a kid, right? You dreamt of as the big moment. You hit the game-winning home run, or at the time, it was a go-ahead home run. That kind of stuff, right? Like Joel Embiid, all right, we need a win tonight. He drops 50. Right? Tyrese Maxey, we need a win tonight. He drops 46. Right? It's the guys that do step up in the biggest moments. That is something that I demand out of my stars. Like, I understand there's the lovely stories of Steve Kerr hitting the game-winning shot, right? But there's a million more Michael Jordan moments of hitting the big shot. And that's what I want.
Bryson Stott last year beating the Marlins with the Grand Slam. It's also, too, the moment has to be elevated. The wild card game,
right?
It's not about, like Joel Embiid putting up in a first-round series,
And that's why we're so upset that when Harper flies out, we're so upset that he flies out in what? That would be Game 6. He also did in Game 7 in the NLCS. We're disappointed because it's Bryce Harper. Like, if Edmundo Sosa flies out, I go, damn, that was a big spot. They could have gotten something there. But it's more upsetting when it's Bryce Harper.
Totally gotcha.
Right? So, to me, it's I expect or demand. I can't say demand because I know.
No, you do demand it because you.
Yeah, but Bryce Harper's not going to bat 1,000.
Yeah, but Bryce Harper has so many checks. So many bank deposits in your memory bank of coming through when we needed them to come through.
But that's something that I want out of my stars, is they come through in the clutch. They come through in the biggest moments.
I would argue this. Bryce Harper, we see another postseason, couple of them. Bryce Harper may end up the greatest star player who came through at the biggest moments in the history of this city.
Could be. I mean, he's had multiple clutch moments.
He has so many moments that you can look at and go, man, that was a Harper moment. That was a Harper moment.
Well, in that 2022 playoff where he's just on a tear hitting home run after home run.
Monster.
And then last year, I mean, dude, when Orlando Arcia has the comments and he comes out the next game and hits 2 home runs, like that is star, or that, like when I say I expect and demand on our stars, like that should be in a freaking dictionary. A guy gets called out because he did make a mistake, his base running mistake, but then the next game goes, oh yeah, screw you, and hits 2 bombs.
And you couldn't have scripted
him staring him down.
The Harper Arcia thing, you couldn't even have scripted it any better.
No, absolutely not.
And it was wonderful.
This is going to sound wild, but if Bryce Harper played basketball or was the quarterback of a football team, he'd be a world champion.
What do you mean?
Well, he's not a world champion yet.
I'm saying
in
he
the sport that he plays.
would be a world champion.
So he's Mahomes. He's Kobe.
Oh, okay.
I get what you're saying.
Unfortunately,
he plays
baseball. You can only impact it so much,
right?
Okay.
As an individual, but
he's got to come through bigger.
He's that level. No,
Yeah, but
he has, Johnny.
No. Okay. Let's spit it out here.
Okay.
Game 6, Game 7 last year.
Okay.
Not.
Yeah, dude, you're
Games-
not going to win every one.
I understand. Games 4, actually 4, 5, 6. Then games 6 and 7 the year before.
Right, but
5
that's
and 6 of the World Series.
Also the whole team.
I know, I understand, but you can put your star has to come through at that moment.
Yeah.
You can't be 0 for 7. You can't be 0 for 12. The last year the Phillies got betrayed by their stars on the biggest stage.
They did.
I understand.
They did. Brandon Marsh is the only guy that really was consistent in that.
I'm just saying, when you talk
game
about
6 and game 7 at home.
When you talk about the most clutch, though, like he'd be even on another level if he didn't play the sport of baseball, where it's harder for an individual to impact.
That's really interesting.
It's true though. Good job, Connor.
That is an interesting one.
All
Big
right,
time.
I'm gonna test you in a few minutes. But did we get any texts about better solutions for LeBron James?
Well, we got a couple checked in. They're actual solutions. They're not just.
I appreciate. Look, I appreciate actual solutions. I do. But just saying, I just don't want him. Give me anyone else. That's wrong.
Yeah, I know. All right. No name on this text here, but it says, I'll take 2 big players over one LeBron, like Miles Bridges and a Jimmy Butler or Paul George.
So, again,
Miles Bridges and who?
Either Jimmy Butler or Paul George.
You're a better team than just adding LeBron.
Look,
You're a better team than just adding LeBron.
I don't want Miles Bridges. All right.
I agree.
There's too much there.
Okay.
I don't want anything to do with Miles Bridges. I mean, he honestly probably shouldn't be in the NBA, but that's a conversation for another day. But the Paul George, Jimmy Butler thing, yeah, but it's the same thing if you're going, injuries. They haven't played many games in the past. So is those two guys.
Well, believe me, I want no parts of Paul George.
But, like, people point out, and you're not, but there are people that point out, LeBron will only play 50 games. He's going to do load management. So is the other guys, right? Like, there's
I think LeBron's going to do load management and he's going to have some mild injuries, which he's had some mild calf strain, stuff like that.
Right.
Paul George is going to be injured.
Could be.
Like Joel Embiid. He's going to be injured. I'll pencil in Joel Embiid for 15 games next year when he's out injured.
Right.
Not load management.
Here's something.
I'll pencil it in right now.
With that 2 versus 1 and try to get 2 good players, does having LeBron James on this roster make Daryl Morey's job easier to build the roster?
Probably easier.
So you're going to get other players because you have LeBron.
And by the way, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, what are they both looking for? Max.
Yeah.
5
They
years. LeBron James is probably a 2 or 3 year deal.
I wouldn't do the Paul George max deal.
But that's the thing. For everybody that says, I'd
No, but
rather not do LeBron.
There are other options.
There
though.
are other options. But people, I don't want LeBron because he's old. Well, then you're going to have Paul George, who's 34, 5 years.
What if I said to you here, Paul George max contract,
Okay.
Trey Young max contract?
Can't do it because you have Joel Embiid and
no.
Tyrese Maxey.
No,
I'm saying
either or.
Oh,
Trey,
either one.
You're better with Trey Young.
No, you're better with Paul George from a basketball standpoint.
You got to hope that he's.
I told you, I'd rather have a wing. I would rather have a wing than Trey Young.
Okay, 4 out of 5 years, though, it has been, and it's enough. When it's 4 out of 5 years, there's going to be a problem. You're missing him for considerable time. You cannot. Can you win? Could you win games? How much did we miss this year with Embiid?
Was it 43 games? They went 16 and 27.
16-27. If you had Trey Young and Maxey trying to survive without Embiid, you're winning more than 16 games. You're winning 19, maybe 20, maybe 19, 20.
Okay.
I
could probably say the exact same thing of Paul George if he's healthy.
Well, you can't. But the thing is, you got to do that. Then you would be the 2 seed. By the way.
Okay.
Then you're the 2 seed. 4 more games to be the 2 seed.
And you're the 2 seed.
Well,
I got you.
If is not no. All right. Like if is maybe. It could be a low percentage maybe.
Right. It is still a maybe though.
It is still a maybe.
I mean, look, this is gonna. It's going to be, you know what's great about this offseason? There's not one answer. There's a million answers.
That's the truth.
And that's what's going to lead to great discourse pretty much the entire offseason when it comes to Sixers talk. And that's the beauty of it, right? Like, at one point, there was an offseason where it was literally just LeBron. And they didn't get LeBron, so they got Tobias Harris, right? This is now an offseason where there's a million different areas where you can go. And I love that. Is there any other solutions, or is that the only one that we had
have a check-in saying C.J. McCollum should be a target? I don't think that's
I
remotely
like C.J.
close to
McCollum,
LeBron.
but like, don't tell me that that's a better solution. I'm saying better solution.
You said better.
And C.J. McCollum is not a better solution, even close.
Another texter says Lauri Markkanen brings up the age.
He's a nice player. He's not a better solution than LeBron James.
Well, in your world, but he does fit John's age thing.
Well,
I don't know about that.
Okay, all right.
That's like a what? Is he 24-year-old all-star?
24, 25?
Yeah, something
And
like
by the
that.
way, I don't think you have the capital to be able to go get it.
Yeah, you might not be able to. All right, so we'd love to hear from you more, 610-632-0975. But I need our honorary single man of the show to check in here.
What's up, boys?
Connor Thomas, good morning. So I saw a tweet yesterday from a Sixers fan, and it was in response to a tweet that came out May 10th. So we're 4 days away removed from this original tweet. Does the name Ed Lattimore ring a bell to you?
No.
All right, he's a former heavyweight boxer who went 13-1-1.
Okay.
All right. And he put out a tweet that read the following. And I'm trying to remember if this is true or not. So that's why the single man of the show will be able to speak to this.
Okay.
Ed Lattimore tweets out something a lot of men don't like to admit. All of your hobbies and ambitions are to attract women.
Yeah.
Nature doesn't care how much personal fulfillment you get from them. Those things are cool, but they're a coincidental positive externally to the prime objective to keep the species going.
Stupid.
Totally agree.
What?
Couldn't agree more.
Do you love playing golf?
Yeah.
You're not doing it it's a sausage party. Go to a golf course. It's a sausage party. You are not going to attract girls by playing golf, spending six hours with your dudes drinking.
No,
that doesn't attract women.
None of the greatest golfers in the world are married to Paulina Gretzky.
That's a hobby.
Are you one of the greater golfers?
No,
that's not the point, though.
It's a hobby. It's a male hobby.
That's what draws you to golf. You see guys be great at it. You see what they get from it. You want to play
But you know you're not getting it. You know you're not getting Paulina Gretzky.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I might get Phillies version of Paulina Gretzky.
You play pickup basketball.
Absolutely.
I can assure you, there are not women out there and going, oh,
Guess
damn,
what?
Connor plays pickup basketball. I'm more attracted to him.
He dropped 12 points.
You don't, first off, you don't know that.
Yes, you do. No, I don't.
Johnny, I will say this. Hold on, I will say this. When Christy and I were dating, she would come out to the Sunday baseball games.
You were dating.
And but dating,
you
not
weren't
married.
You weren't trying to attract girls at the pickup basketball game. You brought sand to the beach.
That's not the point. They like to see you be active.
If there was a girl there, you might uplift your game a little bit.
You brought sand to the beach. You brought a girlfriend. That is completely different.
You're still trying to win. You haven't won the game yet if you got a girlfriend.
So the reason why I even saw this tweet, AV Wolfman Arendt responded to it, saying every once in a while my wife asks me what's new at the Sixers. And as soon as the words start to tumble out of her mouth, a look of overwhelming regret sweeps over her face.
I told you last week, the idea is that now Christina knew every position player for the Phillies.
Okay.
Totally.
But knowing the position players of the Phillies before didn't matter
No, but that's crazy to me is that she's now become attracted to the Phillies. I didn't do it for her to be attracted to the Phillies. Now Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos have a lot to do with her love of the Phillies.
No, but you like sports because it's part of a community. That's the base level of why everyone wants to be a sports fan. You like community because it puts you around other people. You like being around other people so you can find a girl.
So you think everything men do in life is to also attract women?
Yeah, dude, it's straight up biology.
Go to
straight up biology.
I'm going to tell you this.
Straight up biology.
Connor, walk the Eagles parking lot.
John, you're missing it.
There are many attractive women there. Most guys that are there trying to hang out with their dudes, get drunk.
You're thinking one level about the people who are around you. It's what going to these things and doing these things represent for you as a person.
Now, look, I do know this.
I'm still trying to figure out
we all did this. It was very deep. We all did this growing up. You acted differently around the girls.
Absolutely.
You always try to act cooler. You always try to do this. You always try to do that.
Yes.
But I don't think I find hobbies to try to attract women.
No.
You may not think, but like the base motivation behind everything is that.
No, John's right. Me golfing is not attracting a girl.
You going out with your buddies playing golf at Walnut Lane or anything like that. There's nothing attractive to women about
the
that.
prestigious course Walnut Lane to you. All right, coming up next, a way too early look at the NFL power rankings, Johnny.
Oh, my gosh.
We have power rankings that dropped today on ESPN.com, or they came out last night. and I'll go through them. What is the national media saying about the Eagles already? And they did a little blurb of the most improved area of the team for every single team. And Tim McManus, who you hear on the Best Show Ever Often, did the blurb for the Eagles. I'll tell you what the most improved area of the team is for the Eagles and where they rank in the way too early preseason power rankings in the NFL. It's Kincade and Salciunas. If you have better solutions than LeBron James, you still have time to try to get in. I just think you're all cowards. You're not going to give me one. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Salciunas.
Damn it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
God.
Connor, I'm not lying to you. I got 5 texts.
Dude, you're getting drug online. You're getting drug on text messages, and even your own coworkers are just ripping you right
Cousin
now.
Ryan, who loves Connor, thinks he's a good dude, says guys don't hunt and fish for women. And he says if guys had hobbies for women, they would take up ballroom dancing.
What is the base level of hunting and fishing? Is to provide for family.
Oh, stop.
Get out of here.
So,
Tell me it's not.
I can't wait for our crossover with
Oh, my
Bob Cooney
gosh.
because Bob is just ripping you, too. If you're just tuning in, there was a tweet that I saw a couple of days ago. It was tweeted out, but I saw somebody respond to it. That's why I saw it. But this guy, Ed Lattimore, put out a tweet saying something a lot of men don't like to admit. All of your hobbies and ambitions are to attract women. And Connor goes,
So
yeah,
stupid.
absolutely.
It's
That's
very
the way
clear
it is.
men don't like to admit it.
And then Connor has a line during one of the commercial breaks, last commercial break, which was so dumb. I'm sorry. I say that I love. Dumb.
No, it was dumb.
Why do you work? Connor, I'd rather be single than homeless. That's why
That's
I
why you work.
So I'm not homeless, so that I can eat food, so that I can live.
Connor's premise is if you didn't have the lovely Christy, you would be
homeless.
The only reason you do this job is just because them. You'd be willing to be like just to go be a bum on the side of the road. That makes no sense.
That makes no sense, Connor.
It's a rock. We move the species along. We move on. That's life, gentlemen.
Unbelievable. You're getting destroyed right now, and
Well,
I
by the way, you better
celebrate that.
By the way, you better get after it. Better get after it, bringing the species along.
Oh, I'm in no
You're
rush.
not getting any younger. You know, you don't want
Wow,
to.
easy,
See,
man.
so you don't want to continue the species, as you've kind of been open about. Times will change. You never know.
We'll see.
But
You'd be a great dad. I know for a fact you'd be a great dad.
I am already. I got to babysit you two for 4 hours every morning.
That's a great point.
Now leave
That's
me
a
alone.
great
My
point.
mom's listening to this program.
And your mom thinks you'd be a great husband, too.
All right, so ESPN.com, believe it or not, has the 2024 NFL Power Rankings already available.
Oh, it's like the post-draft, post-free agency.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
that's cool.
And they did a little blurb for every single team of the most improved, okay? So the Eagles, do you want to guess where they're coming in on the Power Rankings league-wide?
5.
Connor?
4. 5's probably about right.
Well, 5 is correct, so good job.
It is correct, I guessed.
I just didn't want to repeat.
Can I predict who's ahead of them in the NFC?
In the NFC, there are 2 teams.
49ers and Detroit.
Correct. Detroit comes in at number 4. The 49ers coming at number 2. Obviously, the Chiefs, number 1. Baltimore, number 3. So this is post-draft and free agency and everything. The Eagles actually climbed up 2 spots. They were 7th before everything transpired. Now they're 5th. And every single team has a blurb for the most improved area of the team. And do you want to guess what the most improved area of the team is?
Secondary.
Connor?
Got to be.
Secondary. Yes,
Very
that's
good.
correct. So here's what Tim McManus wrote. The Eagles signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson in free agency to bolster the safety spot and then use their 2 first picks in April's draft on defensive backs Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. All told, they could have 3 new starters in the defensive backfield this season. Philadelphia finished 31st in passing touchdowns allowed last season with 35. With corners Darius Slay and James Bradbury both north of 30 years old, the Eagles needed to address the corner position for the short and long term, and they accomplished that this offseason. So the Eagles already respected across league circles despite the collapse as still the 5th best team according to ESPN.com.
Eagles will be better than Detroit this year.
I agree.
Write it down.
I agree.
Write it down.
Well, it's important to note, too, right? Because last year the Eagles go out immediately in the postseason. They're the highest team ranked in the NFL in that were not in the championship game.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's good.
That's
Good.
good look at. And
I
by
think
the
it's
way,
lazy, by the way, when they just take the championship teams from last year and they make them the top 4.
I don't think they're wrong.
No,
though.
I do think
they usually are. History would tell you they're usually wrong more than 50% of the time.
yeah, they could be.
Because you don't repeat championship games in both sports.
Right, but power rankings change, right?
No,
Like,
exactly.
They change all the time. But I mean, I think Baltimore had a good offseason. They're 3rd. I think Detroit still had a good offseason. They're 4th, and they're very young. And the 49ers, I mean, the 49ers, that's going to be a questionable one.
I think that I'm going to say right now, I think the Eagles could be ahead of both of them.
Dude, the San Francisco one's interesting. I keep on saying it. If Hassan Reddick's still on this team, I think that they're contending to win the NFC.
Well, no, you think they're contending to win the NFC now.
Yes. No, well, with Hassan Reddick, because I don't
think they'd be the
I
favorites?
still worry about edge rusher. I don't know. Like,
well,
I got to see what Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith is.
They should be. Now, because we've gotten into this before with the Sixers. You think the Eagles should win the division, correct?
I think it's a comfortable two-game lead.
Then the Eagles are, if they win the NFC East by 2 games, then they are absolutely contending to win the NFC.
Okay, contending. Yeah, that's
yeah. They're up there really strong.
I agree. I'm just saying if Hassan Reddick's still on this team, like I think that
you think they'd be the favorites?
I think they could be. Yeah,
I think they would be too.
Because I think San Francisco is going to start leaking a little bit. I really do. And I don't know if Brock Purdy plays as well as he did last year. To his credit, he played out of his mind.
I think Brock Purdy had the Jalen Hurts 2022
He may have, yeah. The other teams in the top 10, by the way, just a perspective. The Packers coming in at number 10, the Bengals at number 9, the Bills at 8, Dolphins 7, Texans 6. So the Texans getting a lot of love. The Cowboys just outside of the top 10 at number 11.
Okay.
All right. So the Eagles 6 spots higher than Dallas.
Well, no, I think they're better than Dallas.
Yes.
They're better than Dallas. I just think this division's so bad that Dallas is going to benefit from it, just like the Eagles will.
Derek O'Neill checks in on Twitter. Yeah, I like to play video games a lot, and that definitely isn't a girl-attracting hobby, Connor.
Remember, we just had that from Cosmo, where single women said there is nothing attractive about a guy wearing a headset playing video games in front of their TV. That women do not.
No,
single women.
It does it for Christy.
Single women listed it as like their number one thing that they think guys.
I walk around the house without my pants on, but I wear the Xbox headphones.
Well, it could be that.
Yeah. Let's go to Brian in Dallas. Brian wants to chime in on this. Mr. Connor Thomas does hobbies for girls.
Yeah, tell Tommy he just needed to get his man card taken right now. He's lost his freaking mind, dude.
Oh, I don't think it's a man card thing.
Yeah, Connor, listen, man. Men, our hobbies, women are a byproduct of our hobbies. They're not the main focus of it, dude. I mean, just anything. Most of the hobbies we do are to get away from females. You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, to say that our main object of just periods to get women is asinine, dude. I mean, particularly when you say about the work. Plus, work, man. Plenty of men have lost money chasing women. No dude has lost women chasing money. Money is the priority for work, not females, dude.
You're a wise man, Brian.
Brian, you're
a wise man.
You're a very wise man. We appreciate the call. And, oh, my God, did we just get a crazy text? Father Sean is checked in.
Oh, Father Sean's checking in. Good.
Did I become a priest to attract women, Connor?
Seriously.
Yeah,
well,
Father.
wait a minute. That's a profession. That's not a hobby. It's not your hobby, Father Sean.
We did talk about jobs, though.
You did, yeah. Connor said you work to attract women.
I will build in a caveat. Higher calling.
Higher calling for
Father
Sean. It is. You've said crazy things over the years.
That one might have been the craziest.
This might be the craziest.
Wait, can you read the first part of the tweet again, just like the first 3 words?
Hold on.
Men won't admit.
I was about to read. Yes.
Men don't like to admit. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, because men don't believe it.
Yeah, they don't believe.
There's
it.
nothing
don't like
about
to admit.
And by the way, Brian just bringing up the point there. Part of going and spending 5 hours on a Saturday or more, being with your boys playing golf, is to get away from women. Not in a negative way, but to bond with men. Male bonding.
Hey,
That's part of it.
Bro, you're all by yourself on this one.
You know it's true.
You and former boxer. All right, so Brian Windhorst, not long ago on ESPN. I want to read this to you. If we can get the audio, that'd be great. It was on the Unsportsmanlike show that airs on the ESPN radio network. He was talking about LeBron. So, Wendy and LeBron, there's still that connection, right?
Wendy wouldn't have a career.
Right.
He got his career. Now he used his opportunity.
Right.
But he got his opportunity because he was cleat chasing LeBron as a high school kid. No, he did. That's how he got his job.
So LeBron was in attendance for a basketball game last night. He was at the Celtics-Cavaliers game in Cleveland.
Okay.
So Wendy said that there are already NBA executives curious as to why LeBron James was there last night. Because there's still the thought that he could go back to Cleveland. You talked about that yesterday.
I think he could be there.
Here's what Wendy said, quote, "I will say this. The first thing I thought of was this moment 10 years ago where LeBron showed up to a game in Cleveland while he was a player for the Miami Heat to honor greatest basketball player of all time. I threw that one in there. Zydrunas Ilgauskas' jersey retirement.
Stop it.
His longtime teammate. He got in a private plane, flew from Chicago over to Cleveland on an off night. And apparently Pat Riley was none too pleased about that. A few months later, he signed with the Cavs. He's extremely strategic, and I wish I could tell you I knew exactly what he was doing. I don't pretend to know, but he's got to be up to something.
But this follows what the day before?
The Bronny going to Ohio State. Yeah, potentially Ohio State.
Car ride away.
It's a chance.
Back in Akron, they have the family compound. They still have a compound there.
Yeah,
and it's beautiful.
And he has the school there that he built.
It makes complete sense, and he makes the Cavaliers the favorites in the Eastern Conference to be joined.
That's another reason you need LeBron.
Wait, you say he makes the Cavs the favorites, but you don't know if he makes the Sixers the favorites?
No, I think the Cavs are. I think the Cavs are depth-wise very, very good. If LeBron joins the Cavs, I think they're very good. I think it's going to be. Plus, he gets a chance to come home again. It makes total sense.
Nah, you already went home before. Come to Philadelphia. Try something else new. You haven't played East Coast yet.
He's really
southeast.
He's rejected the East Coast every opportunity he's had to have it.
Well,
and I don't consider Miami East Coast.
That means there's another
East Coast.
That means
I don't consider them an East Coast.
I'm talking
team.
the East. You know the real East
Northeast.
Coast.
You're talking Northeast.
Yeah, the only one that really matters.
The angry East Coast.
It's because it's warm down there. It doesn't matter.
I don't mind Connor that Maryland's the South. Yeah. Not Maryland is in the South.
There's a lot we need to talk to Connor about. All right, coming up next, the key three best minutes from today's show, and also the highly anticipated crossover with Bob Cooney. Yeah, we'll find out what he's talking about today, but maybe we'll have him actually wear his headphones during this one so he can talk to you, Connor, okay? It's Kincade Salciunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This week in Philadelphia, sports is a big one as Eagles fans await the release of the 2020.
Salciunas. Real quick before we get to the key three, we didn't talk about this at all today. I forgot to bring it up. How do you make it to the major leagues as a catcher and hit the batter as you're throwing it back to the pitcher?
That was really bad.
Yeah, Thomas Nitto is a catcher in Major League Baseball, and he hits Bryce. Of course, it's Bryce Harper, right? And thank God it was just the brim of his helmet. But how do you make it to the major leagues and throw a baseball? As the catcher, you hit the batter going back to the pitcher?
I think it was Ben working the game last night. I think it made the comment, like, there are some guys that would have been a throwdown. Like, that would have been a confrontation. No, that there would have been
those guys are dumb.
A bit of a – well, no, but there might have been a confrontation.
I think that's just a case of autopilot. You do it.
Dude, autopilot. I've never seen that before.
I've never seen it happen. It's not going to be autopilot.
I don't know. How does an NBA player airball a free throw? Like, every once in a while.
You've seen that.
He's not assaulting someone.
It's not assaulting someone. Stop it.
I think
he should be behind bars.
No, I think it was Ben. I think it was Ben working the – if it was Ben working the game going, like, you never see that. Like, you never – that's like sloppy.
And Nitto apologized, but
yes,
still, it was
that's
just
sloppy.
Yeah, it's an accident. It happens.
All right, time now for the key three.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
So what we're going to talk about today is what we expect and demand, which is two different things. What we expect and demand out of the star players in Philadelphia, because this is a funny city. This is a city where the 12th guy off the bench is a superhero like Boban Marjanovic. But the superstar is held to a different standard, which they should. But more often than not, they suck. Right, like Joel Embiid stinks, blow it up, build around Paul Reed. I remember getting emails about that last year, which is lunacy. So what do you expect and demand out of our stars? And let's have this conversation about leadership. What is leadership for you when it comes to a sports team? To me, it doesn't just have to be the guy that speaks in front of the media, but I'm sure that you're not alone when it comes to answering the tough questions.
I am a believer, and again, this may be unfair. So I know going in it may be unfair, but I've never moved off. You were talking about a standard, and you brought up, well, what you're paying Jalen Hurts. He should go out there and he should be able to perform and he should be able to do this. I think there is also a responsibility. Players and having been embedded with teams, covering teams on television for an entire season, being in clubhouses and locker room entire seasons every day, I know there are players that they hate having to answer for other players. This is the only city I've ever seen, only one that I can think of, where the highest paid guy, the most important pivotal player on your team, is not your team spokesperson, is not the guy that everybody goes to their locker first to get the status of the team. What's the pulse? What's going on? Why are you struggling? Why are things going great? And I look at, and I'm going to, just for this conversation, Joel Embiid, Bryce Harper, and Jalen Hurts. None of those three gentlemen, who are all, I think, if we can agree with the premise off the top, they are the three most pivotal athletes for each of their franchises.
That's correct.
None of them are the team spokesperson.
From the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, the great Jeff McClain joins us.
I wouldn't be surprised to see with, the departure of Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox, to see maybe Jalen taking more of a leadership role in terms of the vocal part of it, and maybe improving some of the stuff that I think players and members of the organization had a little issue with, the body language on the sideline, maybe not stepping up when things are down, when you really need someone to kind of be that vocal leader.
Do I think you're going to win anything with LeBron James?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Then who are you going to win something with?
What do we want? We want a parade, right?
Correct.
Yes. We are not having a parade getting LeBron James.
It's crazy for you to say that.
I don't believe it's crazy to say that.
It is crazy for you to say that when he is still playing at an extremely high level.
Absolutely, they're not winning a title with LeBron.
There's no active player with more championships than LeBron James.
I don't believe as a team they're going to be deep enough, and L.A. has shown that over and over, that you can have LeBron and you can have another star top 20 player with him.
They won a title.
It's like in 2020.
Okay,
but Andrew, we've now seen this will be the fourth champion crowned since that happened. Since then, they are in 7 seed or an 8 seed. They're a play-in
and
tournament
they got
team.
to a Western Conference Finals.
One time they did have a run
last year.
Dude, this will be the 41st champion crown since the Sixers won anything.
Right. I think there's also roles nowadays. Like Reese Hoskins was the guy that was here from the beginning, and I think that's why he took that leadership role. Now, why has it been passed to Kyle Schwarber and not Bryce Harper? I don't know, but maybe Kyle Schwarber feels more comfortable doing it. Maybe Bryce Harper isn't comfortable talking to the media on a consistent basis. And if my man's hitting home runs and winning MVPs, I don't really care what's said or not said.
There was a time when leaders of teams and athletes, and it can be This can be generational. And it's fair to say maybe it's generational because there was a time when athletes actually spoke their minds.
Right.
We had Larry Bowa on yesterday. Larry Bowa could have given a doctorate level class on telling the fans exactly what was on his mind, or if this team was playing like crap, Larry Bowa was going to tell you they were playing like crap.
Right.
There was an honesty.
Leadership doesn't have to be speaking to the media. Leadership could be what goes on behind closed doors, which is something I do believe Jalen Hurts lacked in last year, and it's been reported multiple times.
And I don't think Bryce Harper is the guy who is leading, like, locker room speeches, anything like that. They talk about it, like other players being the guys that
And he might not have to. He might lead by example, and we see it every single night. Bryce Harper, I would imagine, he leads by example. All right, that's the Kincade and Salciunas key. 3 to 3 best minutes from today's show, and I'm glad he brought his headphones in. Bobby, can you help us talk some sense into young Connor Thomas?
No, because when somebody's nonsensible, there's no chance in even trying. So I heard his argument. We were talking about it. The biggest thing it came down to, Ray Dunn just said, are there some things I do to try to attract other, the opposite sex or whatever sex that you're involved with? Yeah, there is some. Connor's saying everything that you do.
Oh, you
Connor's
why you work?
I climb on you tonight. I mean, that's how Connor rolls.
That's biology of the species, baby.
I climb on you tonight.
Come on, bro.
That's where he is. So, congratulations on the way you look at life, Connor.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
There you go. And you know Mrs. Thomas is listening.
I know she is.
What do you got on the program today, Bobby?
We got a lot of fun coming up. The Phillies go at 1 o'clock today, so we're going to talk Phillies up until 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then we'll hit a whole bunch of different things. But I thought that win by the Phillies and the way they came back yesterday, although they didn't win that game, to me, that's a sign of a winning team, a winning organization. That when things aren't going well, this is how you climb the ladder of that winning organization. It was one of my themes a couple weeks ago. I don't think the Sixers really have that winning organization label really set in place yet. This is how you do it. When you're missing people, when you're not 100%, and we're seeing it in the NBA playoffs also, where guys are hurt. Donovan Mitchell was out for the Cavs last night. They played a hell of a game. They tried.
And they battled.
Yeah, so just different things about that. We'll look at the opponents the Eagles have this year, home and away, and maybe try to sprinkle in a where you want it, what do you want to do, what don't you want. So a lot of different things coming up.
All right, well, we love it, Bobby. Can't wait to be there. Who are you joined by today?
Oh, we got Amy Fadul today for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got some other things going on, but we'll have her until noon.
All right, we're looking forward to it, Bobby. You're the best.
I can't wait.
Thanks, man.
A leader is a person on the field, not what he says behind a microphone.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
There he is.
Andrew.
Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group. Make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives.
All right, everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow on an Adam Schefter Wednesday. But for now, it's Bob Cooney Midday Show. That, of course,
release day.
Oh, yeah, schedule. But we don't get to react to it till Thursday.
We're getting leaks.
That would be nice. It's Kincade